All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Straight Talk. And I'm feeling kind of, ambivalent in a way. A lot of things that I thought were straight up about is not. So we're going to cover that, and it's going to be the last time I do it about the NOI. Now, last week, I covered in detail and came across from his own mouth Malcolm X's admission that the NOI were trying to kill him, and almost did. He had to pull to the side one of the guys who was out there to get him, to kill him by rigging his car to explode. Now, if that doesn't, if that does not hit you hard, I don't know what does. It is obviously, or was, an inside job with our brother Malcolm and the upper echelons of the NOI, in particular the pedophile Elijah Muhammad. Now, I don't know if I played this one, but I did find it today. So we're going to go over it, and we're going to talk about two videos, and that will be it for me. I don't need to hear nobody say shit to me about motherfucking things, because the situation in the NOI is so deleterious that people are blind to the actual facts. You heard on my show last week that Elijah Muhammad set up Malcolm X, and out of sheer arrogance, greed, whatever else, Farrakhan wanted to be the number one guy and take the place of Malcolm. And I found that to be hard to swallow. Hard to swallow. Now, you know damn well we are dealing with a very serious situation in America and the world. Right now, as I have stated on my show many times, the answer for black people is unity. Political, economic, spiritual, and physical. White people can't stop that. Only you stop it because you believe in their fact that we don't hold any of the spades in our hand. When we do, we have all the power. We have all the glory. We have all the blessing of our ancestors to kick ass and take names and shut them the fuck up. To be honest, too. But to be honest, man, I don't know what this country is kind of, But anyway, to be honest, we have nothing to complain about. Why are we complaining? We're complaining because our misdirected, malinformed or misinformed or disinformed leader, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, the Black Congress, the Black the Black Congressional Caucus, Farrakhan, these are all bitch ass niggas. They're not telling you the facts. They're not telling you how to circumvent the situation. To circumvent the situation, we need unity. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, black people need federal protection. We got that. We've been done had it since 1866. God damn. There are gatekeepers that are collecting money, Farrakhan, that are collecting money, Jesse Jackson, I don't know if he still is, and Al Sharpton and others, who are telling you, our own people in America, just be quiet and just hold on, we're going to get it, we're going to get it done, we're going to get it done, we're going to get nothing happened. Now look at what is happening on the continent of Africa. White folks are scared shitless because they know once we are unified politically, economically, uh, spiritually, and physically, the game is over. It is absolutely positively over. There's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts in my mind about that. You know me, I fuck all white folks because they own some personal bullshit. They've been like that. They actually believe that they can do what they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it, where they want to do it, and never suffer the consequences. But in reality, there is a force in the universe called karma. If I break it, then I will suffer. If I bless through my action, through my word, through everything, then I will be blessed in whatever way that may be. We have got to understand how that works. Not hard. Seen and heard this from our parents. It is definitely a sound way to live. Because when you are aware of karma, it's not like, well, I don't want to go and do it because I'd be punished. It's not about that. It's about morality. It's about character. It's about integrity. It's about kindness. And when you are so busy living a positive existence through your thoughts, through your words, and through your action, making sure all three are the same, then you're going to feel that frequency, that vibration of the universe blessing you. That's how it works. Now, tonight, as I've stated, and after united now, I want you to say, this is not hard science, you guys. The only people who are written in the Constitution are black folks. Now, I know for a fact that the 1866 Civil Rights Act and the Enforcement Acts will stop cold all of the police actions, all of the KKK actions, all of the neo-Nazi actions, and we'll get right back on track how we were supposed to be. The Department of Justice was created to protect black folks and only black folks. The Enforcement Act were put in place because Ulysses S. Grant knew what was coming. But due to the quiet as it kept, white folks started to lose their damn mind because they didn't want to see black people in power. And so the only reason why you see white people in power and not us is because they have silenced and killed so many people who were willing and able to follow through with the 1866 Civil Rights Act and the Enforcement Act to keep it moving forward. And this is the reason why they are in control, among other things. But you gotta understand and realize that if it wasn't for all of the illegal actions, both state, federal, and local, the police and law enforcement helping white men and women and children get ahead while we fell backwards, they got to pay for that. And the use of the Civil Rights Act and the Enforcement Act and other things will do that in record time. It's not a matter of if or a matter of when or a matter of how. It is mandated in the Constitution to do it. The FBI was created to fight against the hate that was coming towards black people. This is not difficult calculus problem. This is 1, 2, 3 ABC. But due to the fact that our own leaders are telling us there are weapons of mass destruction over here, over there, and everywhere, instead of right where we are, and how we can avoid and how we can get over that situation, they're getting paid off, directly, indirectly, known or unknown. And it's a damn shame that black folks in America are still walking around in the dark, but you got your hand on the light switch. The Enforcement Act, the Civil Rights Act, 1866, not the 1966 one. That was the Indian Civil Rights Act. Okay? You don't need no fucking degree in law to know this. It's been known and it's been hidden for so long that I find it disappointing that my people, I love all my heart, have been hoodwinked into believing you ain't shit. Utterly ridiculous, utterly crazy, and utterly insane that you're sitting there in the dark, but you got your goddamn finger on the light switch. Just flick that bitch up and watch these roaches run. White folks are scared as fuck about revenge. Now they getting it in now, but it's gonna get worse. Not gonna get better for them, and they know this. When a black person tell you, "All right, cool," that don't mean everything is hunky dory. That means we're gonna get in that ass when our time is up. The tables have turned now. The economic table, the spiritual table, and the physical. White people cannot fight politically, economically, spiritually, or otherwise, physically. They're weak than a motherfucker. But they hoping, like the Wizard of Oz, that you don't pull back the curtain and you bitch slap the shit out of them, because you're going to be surprised how easy it is. You're going to be like, wait a minute now. Oh, this little bitch motherfucker. Oh, man, come on now. All you had to do was bitch slap the shit out of them with the Civil Rights Act of 1866, the Enforcement Acts, and anything and everything else. All they've done up to this very day is do illicit shit, illegal shit, and you're going to get paid. Bottom line. The FBI was created to protect us in America. We are again the only people written in the Constitution. But you gotta wake up, my people. You gotta realize the power you got. You have all the spades in your hand, really. No, you got all the spades in your hand, baby. There's nothing lacking on your part, except for the reality and facing the reality that you are kings and queens of the world. So I really want you to focus in on that, get to know that. And tonight, like I said, I'm going to cover this last portion of the NOI. I'm not going to say nothing else, because I'm just truly disgusted by the upper echelon of the Nation of Islam. I have no qualms about the innocent men and women who are joining the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam raised up A lot of dead people, spiritually dead, alcoholics, prostitutes, ex-pimps, bank robbers, whatever the case may have been, to reputable people who have lost their way. But it's all about history. When you know the past, you can understand the present and predict the future. All right? This is not a calculus problem. It's not a physics problem. It's all about 1, 2, 3, ABC. Real fucking easy to see. But you gotta clear all the smoke of our leaders who have been blowing smoke up our asses and make us look over here, or up there or down here to make us think otherwise. Now I know, without a doubt, that our people will rise. Uh, which one is it? Joel 3. I'm not going to read it, but you can always check that out. Our blessing has always been here, but to activate it, we need unity. That's it. There's nothing complicated about it. And we need serious people who are loyal to what they're doing to protect our people, protect our women, to protect our children, are using and making the Department of Justice and the FBI to do their fucking job. They are mandated to do that shit. Not if they want to be, not if they may like to be or do. They must do it. And so tonight I'm going to cover the last 2 videos I'm going to be doing on the NOI. These are not my words. These are people who know. I guess, and I think, no, I didn't see nothing, but I shut the fuck up. Now, I done said what I fucking said last week. That even Malcolm X told in that video that the NOI was in on trying to kill him, and they eventually did. He had to take one of those brothers to the side who was going to rig his car to blow up and give him the 411, and he said, "Ooh, don't worry about it, brother Malcolm." But no, no. Just like fucking niggas always do. They're always in it for themselves. And Elijah Muhammad, you can admit the truth to yourself because I produced it last week. Alright? That the man was a fucking pedophile. Don't you ever think that a motherfucker is better than you, more advanced than you, more important than you. You can't touch him. You can't question the motherfucker. That's not a good leader. A leader must be tough enough to fight, tender enough to cry, strong enough to absorb the pain, and resilient enough to bounce back and keep. Elijah Muhammad ain't like that. But now, his head got too full of himself, and so did Farrakhan. What the fuck does he look like, and why the fuck would he bow down and suck the dick of white supremacy after all of what Khalid Muhammad is talking about? Don't fucking tell me that didn't happen. You heard it from the mouth of Khalid Muhammad. Mr. Minister Farrakhan is a bitch ass nigga. Straight the fuck up. You heard it here last week. He collecting millions of tens of millions of dollars every year. Where is that fucking money going? Well, we know he got a mansion in Chicago. That got to be kept up. He living high on the hog, and all other black folk that fall along the line are fighting to get their place in line for when Farrakhan dies, somebody comes in and take over. Ain't that a big? I have yet to see, and a lot of people are complaining about it. You have to be on a straight up 100, 100 on God. There is no solidarity within the Nation of Islam. There is no. Where did all that fucking money go? Somebody benefiting. Somebody benefiting. And for the last 50 plus years, it has been, or 60 years, if I can say that, or maybe 70 years since Farrakhan joined the nation, or whatever the case may be. He was in on killing Malcolm X. He was getting tired of being number two. If the truth be told, he wanted to be number one. He wanted to get rid of Malcolm. Lo and behold, it happened. And lo and behold, he came number one. And lo and behold, he is now, as far as I am concerned, a bitch ass nigga. Everything that he had done good has been erased from all of that. And especially when he never gave an audience to Khalid Muhammad, begging him for an audience. But no, he wanted to listen to the white media and all these other groups. We're talking about this, we're talking about that. You should shut Khalid Muhammad down. I don't. I love Khalid Muhammad, but I have no now respect. Not 1 ounce, not 1 ounce, not one iota for Farrakhan. What fucking reason did he have to not grant an audience and to kick him out of the NOI, or to at least to shut him down? Khalid Muhammad. He was so matter of fact about sucking the dick of white supremacy that he forgot his own book. That's not black people. Khalid Muhammad was doing his job for the nation, and this is why a house divided cannot stand. It is true that, unfortunately, Elijah Muhammad was a pedophile. It is true that he was a womanizer. He did not have wives, he had hoes. I hear a woman say this to you tonight. Not me, but all I've been able to surmise with that one fucking video from Malcolm X admitting to the fact that he took a brother from the NOI and put him to the side and said, hey, look, what you're hearing is not true. I'm not about that. The brother from the NOI was about to rig his car and have it explode when he turned it on. That should be motherfucking front page news. So enough with the cover up, enough with the trying to hide shit. If the NOI gonna do anything that is good, they must turn it back on Farrakhan. They must turn it back on the history and legacy of Elijah Muhammad and admit the truth. Y'all fucked up. I am quite certain when Farrakhan goes to the bathroom, this shit stinks. I am quite certain when Elijah Muhammad went to the bathroom, his shit stinks. He's a human being. He had all kind of bitches and hoes, whatever the fuck you want to call them, or women. He didn't have, that's not allowed in America. He had a lot of women. But, that's how some men do. They fall for the pussy game. And see, this is why I'm not so heavenly bound that I am of no earthly good. If you're gonna be a leader, you must stick to values, mother. Just that goddamn simple. You can't be out here hoeing. Now, I was a hoe when I was younger, but I was not married. But when I got married, I grew and I became more mature and I understood the value of family. Not only as a nation, within the nation of the nation of Islam, but my own personal relationship with women that I've had. And I've only had two marriages. First one went down the drain because I was too much of a whore. And then the other one now. And I appreciate what she does every day. And I appreciate my kids. I'm making sure that they are learning what is important, that I am passing on to them the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding that I have so that they can maneuver through life with greater ease. Which is the simplest way? No, nobody live an easy life, but you live an easier life. That's the point. And so as a parent, as a husband, as a father, it is incumbent upon me as a man to be the best example. Kids, my block, my barrio, neighborhood where I live, and for the nation here in the Dominican Republic. I have no qualms about that at all. I must do my part to uplift humanity and to help my people. And so tonight we're going to go over it, and I'm going to talk my piece. So we're going to go on to the first video. It's about 41 minutes. I'm going to do 20 and, oh yeah, we're going to do 21 and then 20 minutes. And let me bring up the share screen. Hold on. Okay, there we go. So now we're going to go to the first video, and then when, like I said, I'm going to do 20 minutes or 21 minutes, and then 20 minutes the last part, and I will be right back.
I probably should start from there.
No, that ain't where we stopped off at.
I know, but it's on a different video.
Okay. What I'm saying, friend, is a lot of people think that I'm not being truthful about 1973 and 1965. They think I know more than what I'm telling you, what I'm telling other people that question you about that. They think because of my popularity in boxing, in the music world, being with all the music giants, B.B. King, Bobby Bland, Marvin C., and Millie Jackson, all of them, they think that I know more than what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So Captain John, he said to me, he said, I heard all your interviews with Barbershop Praise and Conversation Prayer. He said, but in my opinion, knowing you, you are not telling him the whole story. He said, I heard Ali's story. Ali told him more than you told him. I said, but you got to understand this. Ali come out of 25. I came out of 12. So if you look at it, no matter what they think I know, Ali's got to know more than me because he was there. He was there as a young junior FYI when it went down. So would you agree that Ali should know more than I know?
I'm not going to say I would agree because you had a relationship with Mustafa. So I wouldn't agree that he would know more. I would agree that he may have visually seen more, but I would argue that he would know more because he was younger. He's younger than me. He's like, what, 13 years younger than me?
12.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But what I will say, and he told you that Mustafa was the guy, right?
Yeah.
Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
And then you take it out. You know Ali gave you his word. And did that Pastor John Ali tell you the same thing?
No. He told me that uh, he knew Malcolm X was going to die. He also said that I don't know why people praise him so much, and he somewhat admitted. I got to play the clip for you. He admitted uh that he had some take in it, like uh or that he had the information or something like that.
But Chris, let me tell you what that rap bastard didn't tell you. John Ali, this went on, this began when we really got the word. Some my mother never told you. Yusuf Shaw, the captain, Malcolm's captain, who betrayed Malcolm.
Dale a tu negocio la mejor dirección en Internet con GoDaddy. Elige entre cientos de dominios y excelente.
And try to have him killed 3 or 4 times before it actually happened. Yusuf Shaw was from Detroit, Michigan. Malcolm brought him in. Malcolm was in before John Ali and all of them. Malcolm was in. Malcolm was in. Hear what happened. Now I'm going to give it to you straight. I don't care who don't like it, because I fear no one but Allah, the Ta'ala Allah. And I come out at number 12. What you don't know, that Yusuf Shaw asked a brother, and this brother's still alive. I'm going to try to get hold of the brother. I'm going to go uptown. He ain't too far from your cousin. I'm going to go uptown. He was one of the brothers that Yusuf Shaw, because he was in the air, he was in the special forces in the army. Before he came in the nation, he knew by them explosives. He asked this brother to wire Malcolm's car. And the brother went and told Malcolm, that's the 2 part in the movie. The brother went and told Malcolm. Malcolm's partner that he went to jail with, Jarvis, told him about these brothers. Jarvis got word from a cop that he knew that John Ali was a rat. Yusuf Shaw knew that John Ali was a rat. Because Yusuf Shaw's wife, Sister Sylvia, her brothers, this public knowledge for you to back me up. Her brothers was a lieutenant and sergeant in the police and the Philadelphia Police Department. Yusuf Shaw's wife come from Philadelphia. From Philadelphia. And Ali Muhammad was standing on that. And
now, I hope y'all caught that. A brother in the Nation of Islam was going to blow the fuck up the car of Malcolm X when he turned it on. How cold fucking blooded is it? There's no fucking unity in the Nation of Islam. Fuck the Nation of Islam. And I am very pissed off. Because the good people of the Nation of Islam, they don't even fucking know about this shit. You just blindly going along, and not accepting the truth and the reality. You just got what do you call them? Blinders on like a horse. I don't do that. My rabbi don't do that shit. I'm not blindly following the man, even though the man is very brilliant. Speaks 6 languages, all fluent. Read, and speaks. Now, I speak true, and I'm learning Hebrew right now. But the idea is, where is the true leadership in the Nation of Islam? Where the fuck are you? Why are you not calling this shit out? Let's continue.
Aaron's nowhere, because he talks to them a lot. And the son will tell you, because I'm going to tell you why Yusuf Shaw hated Malcolm and Crofton. Because Yusuf Shaw beat up his wife, and Malcolm put him out. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad overruled Malcolm and brought him back in. Said, brother, it's just a misunderstanding.
Wait. A brother was beating the shit out of his wife, a black woman, and Malcolm X put him out, and now, and Elijah Muhammad brought him back? If that's not a bitch ass nigga, I don't know what the fuck it is. There's no morality at that point, and I'm going to say it now. And this point, at this moment, there's no morality. no character, no integrity in the Nation of Islam, in the upper echelon. All right, let go.
So that showed you that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was contradictory. He knew that John Ali was a rat, but he used John Ali to get information to what they was asking him about him. John Ali played both sides of the fence. He played Elijah's side and he played Edgar Hoover's side and the Carl Protel.
I can't.
Wait. He played both. He played both. He played what? He played both sides. The Edgar Hoover side and the Elijah Muhammad side. Ain't that a bitch?
Canceled my Midjourney subscription because this AI does everything I need for one-time cost. Let me show you.
So when you understand it, the three main players was Yusuf Shaw, John Ali, and John Ali. Those was the main players.
You said John Ali twice.
Yeah.
So you said Yusuf Shaw, John Ali, and who else? You said three.
And Captain Yusuf Shaw. Those were the main players. They used Minister James, who was I'm pretty sure Ali told you about his Minister James Shabazz. He was powerful. He should have been nothing no more than a lieutenant, assistant captain. He became minister because he was in jail in Maryland for the penitentiary with Donald Elijah Muhammad in the 40s. And when Yusuf Shaw was mad because Malcolm told Donald Elijah Muhammad, Betty told him that this was coming. Minister Jeremiah told him, this is my minister now. I want people to understand this, please. It is what it is. Mustafa did it. I said it. I know he did it. Ali bear witness, but I let Ali told you person I'm picking back that I know that he did it. So now they got it from me. But here's the problem. It was a conspiracy. See, to what John Ali didn't tell you, they started a conspiracy. The two daughters, Lottie and Esther, and Raymond Sharif, who was the supreme captain, he had no power. He couldn't get nothing done out of Chicago. Junior came into the Manhattan Center, where they got the press conference at right now, and said, you let this red nigga talking about my father, I want his tongue on a platter. That got Mustafa and all them hyped up. 25. See, Ali didn't have no power. He was a junior soldier. I had more power then than Ali. See, Ali was a young teenager, a young soldier. So, what happened was, the brother that did the firebomb at the house, he's still alive. God is punishing him. He got cancer in his brain and he got colon cancer. So he all messed up. God is punishing him. Let him live and let him suffer. The brother that did the firebomb at the house. 7 days.
And what's his name?
Ahmed Salam, that's his new name. I don't remember his slave name. Ahmed Salam. He was one of the brothers, aka Ahmed Salam. He was one of the brothers that did the firebomb. Now, when Minister James, you know when Minister James came on, watch the tape. Minister James came on. So, you know, if you watch the tape, when Minister James said that when Malcolm was speaking about Kennedy, he was speaking to himself. That showed you that Elijah really called the shots, bro. If you look at the dynamics, John Ali was in Chicago. John Ali was supposed to be at the press conference. He in New York the day that he went down. He in New York. So he orchestrated it. They used Farrakhan and they sent Farrakhan to Newark. Farrakhan did that Sunday message at Temple number 25. Now, James Shabazz, you look at the picture, where's James Shabazz? He's the minister. So what they did, Fred, if you watch it and you look at all the tape, Farrakhan was in Newark, James Shabazz in New York. Why couldn't Farrakhan? See, Farrakhan had took over from Malcolm in New York. But that day they switched. James Shabazz went to New York. And excuse me, and they went to Farrakhan and they used Farrakhan. They made Farrakhan hype him and Farrakhan talked about it. That's how it went down, Fred. Because all those guys that was involved with James Shabazz, the lieutenant. Mustafa was a lieutenant. And Ali from back then, and all the old timers in Newark that's still around that didn't want to die in 1965, they'll tell you that they hated Malcolm. That's what went down. You cannot tell me that some in those days went down, and John Ali didn't want to tell you, but he knew. And I believe, Fred, that Elijah gave the order.
El Ministerio de Economía dominicano ha anunciado el lanzamiento de una nueva iniciativa destinada a...
I believe Elijah gave the order. He said he didn't give the order, but what he did, he created an atmosphere because he knew that James Shabazz had the brothers that would do it. Whatever orders came out of Chicago, they would do it. But see, the difference with my mosque, nobody controlled Minister Jeremiah, even Elijah. Elijah was scared of Jeremiah Shabazz because we had real gangsters in number 12. So they couldn't use number 12 because Malcolm never did that. Malcolm opened the doors in Philadelphia. Why would we want to take him out? Why would the brothers before me want to take him out? Malcolm was good to them brothers when he had nothing in Philadelphia before he became popular. When John Ali told you in that 10-hour interview from sun up to sundown that why is we taking care of Malcolm today? Why Malcolm is more popular than Elijah? Because Malcolm built the nation. When Betty told you this before she passed, may Allah go in a paradise. When Malcolm come out of the ministry, Malcolm come out to Penitentiary in 52, there was only 5 or 6 months. When Malcolm died, it was like 32 or 33 months around the country. So when you got a guy, you should have known then that he was part of the orchestration of Malik al-Shabazz, that rat bastard that you could whip 10 hours, John Ali, who went to up and now with his daughter. See, he got a son in Reading, Pennsylvania. That's why Aaron Stowell trying to get over it. Because when he was up at the camp with Ali, see, Ali didn't trust him. But Ali didn't worry about him because he had Jeremiah and all us with him at that time. So at that time, when John Ali came to the camp, he lucky we didn't take him out. At that time, I'm telling you on record, I wanted to take him out. Because why he orchestrated him, because he was a rat.
Hold on.
In my
All right, let's go.
Well, we don't deal with rats. You dealt with him because that's what you do. You're a jurist. But you will not see his face in nowhere walking the streets. Even today, 59 years after 1965, this nigga won't walk the street, bro. You see what I'm saying, bro? This how it's down. I'm telling you, and I'll die on what I just said. Allah be my witness. Allah be my shahid. So you got the whole story. I'm backing up what Ali told you and what other brothers told you. That's what went down. Yusuf Shaw, James Shabazz, and John Ali with the orchestration. And they had to get it out of Chicago. I don't have proof that they got it from the old man, but I know they got it from Junior, because Junior came in here and said it. If you get the tape from the Manhattan Center, public knowledge from 1965, you'll see it. When Junior came into the Manhattan Center, it's in the archives of the Daily News and the Post and the Amsterdam News. So now you see what I'm saying, Fred? Now you the full story, how they orchestrate. That's how they orchestrate, brother. So Allah knows best. And that's how they orchestrate. You got any more questions, brother, concerning that?
Yeah. You said the players, the gentleman that bombed the house in the week before, right?
Right.
Valentine's Day, right? I think it was Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Have you had conversations with him?
I haven't talked to him since Elijah's funeral, Elijah Janaz in 75. See, I had love for Malcolm. You know, he was all right with me, but my loyalty was to Minister Jeremiah. Whatever Jeremiah and the captain at that time was Shamsuddin Ali, who is still alive. I'm going to try to get him to talk to you. He's Mike Tyson's current father-in-law. He's Kiki's father. He knows more than I know because he was the captain at that time in Philadelphia. If you listen to any Elijah's speech, he said Philadelphia is the top of the clock. 25 is the cornerstone. 7 is at the bottom. So when you look at that, Chris, that's the dynamic of what went down. Now, the last time I talked, I know brothers that see that brother. You know, he's prayed the brother real sick. God is punishing him. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Any other question, my brother, concerning 1965? You got it from the date. You pulled it out, Fred.
Now, you also mentioned to me that you had whereabouts of his mistresses that I never got a chance to speak to.
Well, Fred, they don't really want to talk because, you know, you still got those haters out there. And I don't think we should put these last 2 sisters in jeopardy. They are in their late mid-70s now. I don't think we should put them in jeopardy. I think you should get it all from Yusuf Shaw's son, Junior. I think because of that, we should do what is necessary. Now that you got it from me and Ali, you need to get it from everybody. And you need to ask Ali Muhammad, to put you with all the brothers that was close to Mustafa, that was part of that scenario when his first was being talked about. That's what you need to do. So you have the full scope of how we got from November 63 to February 21st, 1965. See, you don't know what led up to that. See, John Ali created the scenario, him and the 2 sisters, Esther and Lottie. Malcolm trying to take over the nation. Malcolm trying to take over the nation. Because Malcolm was more popular. Even you know, Fred. Nobody talks about Elijah today but Farrakhan. Am I right or wrong?
Yes.
Everybody talks about Malcolm. All the brothers from Philly talk about Minister Jeremiah and Mike's father-in-law, Imam Shamsuddin. At that time, he was a captain in 65. He was a captain. So when you look at the dominant, the 2 daughters created, they created the scenario. And then they created all Malcolm trying to take over the nation. Malcolm doing that. And they told Yusuf Shaw to create a dominant in Temple number 7, 116 to Lent. Create a dominant. And we'll bring it down. Over here, brother. Bathroom this way, brother. Brother. This way. Go around. Bathroom is over here. My brother, take a look. Turn. So when you look at the dominance of it, a lot of them created When they come home, when Emmanuel Female come home, the sister said to him, he said, these ministers coming here with fur coats on, Lottie and Esther wearing fur coats, diamond rings. We ain't going to do all that. So Malcolm brought that up, and he's telling the Allah Muhammad, how your daughter's doing that and other sisters can't do that.
Now we're going to pause it at 20 minutes, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to let it run. I'm just going to let it run and let the truth out. You know what I mean? This cannot be ignored. But at the end of both of these video, I'm going to give you my comment, and then we're going to go into the real deal Holyfield of what tonight is all about. So hold on, let me see. Anybody else? Nobody has a comment? What's going on? All right, so we're going to go back to the video, and then we're going to continue on for the next 21 minutes, 24 seconds.
The dialects. All Malcolm trying to stay strict and take over the nation. The nation became like niggas on the corner in them days wearing big hats, walking down Lennox Avenue and St. Nicholas. That's what the nation became. I'm telling you this, and I'm standing on this because I was part of it. But I didn't tell it off. So when you have to look at this way, the dialects that the girls started, John Ali was the national secretary. He could get to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad quicker than anybody because he was the national secretary.
Right.
So they created this, and they knew that Yusuf Shaw was married, and they used Farrakhan and Yusuf Shaw. When they was setting it up, they would bring Farrakhan up, let him speak in New York, let him speak in Newark, let him speak in Asbury Park. They would keep him in that region. So when it went down, they created a thing that, well, all ministers go to different mosques every other week or every month. They created that for the press. Now you see where I'm coming from, Brad?
Yes.
This was built from chickens coming home to roost. Coming home to roost was to get him out the door. Because they couldn't just put Malcolm out. So when he said that chicken come home to roost, see, he didn't do nothing wrong. The press asked him. The press came to him. He got through the lecture all right. And then the press said, he said, it's just like chickens coming home to roost. What did he say wrong? What did he do wrong? Right. Because 2 years earlier, they killed 4 little girls in the Baptist church in Birmingham. You understand what I'm saying, Brad?
Yes.
They created a dialect to kill this man. Then, if you look at it, Fred, did Ali explain to you what happened to Minister James?
Yes.
Ali told you what happened to Minister James, right?
I'm telling you. Yes.
Minister James got it. The same way he shot that shotgun, he got the shotgun 8 years later, in 1973, right in front of his house. The New World Order. They want to say, now I can't bear witness, but word was out that these guys were loyal to Betty and they was loyal to Malcolm. And they said Betty gave the order. I don't have no proof that Betty gave the order, Fred. Now, I'm saying to your listeners, I don't have proof that Betty gave the order in 1973 for Minister James. I don't have no proof. But what I will say, if you listen to the interview with Betty and Atala on Oprah when they was making the movie, Betty said the same way they sent it, the same way they got it back. Watch what Betty said on Oprah. That's public knowledge. So that's why a lot of people think that she had something to do with Minister James.
Right.
Her guys that loved her and Malcolm did it and kept her name out of it. Think about it. Watch that tape tonight or tomorrow or when you ain't with the kids, baby. Watch her truth on Oprah.
Right.
She said those that start the shotgun, they got the shotgun. So who else she talking about? Because Mustafa lived to be an old man. Who else she talking about? What Minister James?
Right.
And John Ali was in hiding And at that time, Yusuf Shaw had cancer. So at that time, Yusuf Shaw thought that they was coming to get him. The only thing saved Yusuf Shaw, he started working for Don King and Minister Farrakhan put soldiers around him and around Don. They weren't going to do nothing to Don, because Don was in the penitentiary when that went down. But Yusuf Shaw was I love the captain because he was a Muslim, but he was a snake. Anytime you on your deathbed, you ask Allah to give you for your sin, but you say Malcolm X is still as a Benedict Arnold. What kind of answer for forgiveness is that? You still calling your brother Benedict Arnold?
Not black first.
Farrakhan made some steps. See, Betty wasn't no dummy. She knew that they used Farrakhan. When Farrakhan did that sit down with Mike Wallace with Atala, he said, I might have created the atmosphere, but I had nothing to do with the planning or the delivery of the final blow to your father. We know that they used Farrakhan. We know that. But Farrakhan would position himself because he knew when he lied to go, he would become a spokesman. He wanted to be Elijah Muhammad. And that's what happened. So you follow me now, brother?
Yes.
Next question.
Have you had any conversations with Yusuf Shaw?
Yusuf Shaw and I were together at every fight when he was working for Don King. He was with me and Aaron Snowell, Carl King. All of us had a relationship with Yusuf Shaw.
Discover a simple yet brilliant hack to cool your home in just 90 seconds. It's about to change the way Americans keep.
Have you ever asked them anything about?
Oh, I asked him. Oh, I told him to his face, and Don King, Carl King, everything on this. I said, I knew you. I said, Yusuf, I said, Brother Captain, I love you, but I knew you crossed Malcolm. I knew you crossed. Oh, brother. I said, brother, you crossed Malcolm. A man that took you out the garbage can. You was doing grits and cheese and drinking wine, drinking Boone Corn wine in Detroit. And the Clifton Malcolm got you out the trash can and took you to chamber number 1. And he said that on the rock himself, that Malcolm raised him. Let me ask you something, Chris.
Yes.
If my son working for you and he crosses you, then he was never your friend. Am I right or wrong?
Right.
So that shows you that, see, Malcolm didn't make Yusuf Shaw captain in New York. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad put him there so couldn't nobody set him down. When he got mad at Imam Rafi Muhammad when he came in, because he dismanned the FOI. He dismanned all that. He said, oh, y'all got to get a job. He told his sisters, if your husband ain't got a job, you got to go get one. That's why he sold everything and took care of outside children. Imam Rafi Muhammad did that, and may Allah grant in paradise.
Right.
Bruh, if you understand this, Yusuf Shaw told me out of his own mouth, bruh, and I put my children's life on this, that Malcolm was a Benedict Arnold. He got what he deserved. He told me this. We were down in Atlantic City, and I was so mad at Yusuf Shaw. This was as when Spike was making the movie.
Malcolm X deserved what he got? That means motherfuckers. That the Nation of Islam killed the man. Don't fucking tell me they didn't. Don't you fucking tell me they didn't. Don't you fucking ever, as long as your ass is pointed toward the ground and your ass is black. Don't fucking tell me the Nation of Islam did not kill Malcolm X.
Spike was making the movie. And we down in Atlantic City for Mike Tyson, Alice Stewart. We down in Atlantic City in December, I think it was 90. It was about 6 months before. When did George Foreman fight Holyfield? 91?
It was the early 90s, I know that.
Yeah. And we were down in Atlantic City, and that's when that jumped off. Yeah, that's when that jumped off. And me and, because Carl King and tell you, he had to pull me and you show apart. I said, man, you a snake, bro. I love you because you're a Muslim. But you cross Malcolm. Don fired him. What's Don got this whole story? Don fired him. Don Furdy, he was serving pork chop for Don King. You wanted the national captain. You were the regional captain. And when you said, brother, Fred, Captain Sam didn't really like him, but Captain Sam dealt with it. This Wallace's brothers, Nathaniel and all of them, they ain't like Yusuf Shaw, because they loved the Malcolm. They know Malcolm was straight up. They know their father was a snake. Nathaniel had a white woman down in Kansas City, selling dope. He said, man, my father's crazy. I'm hustling. That's a true story. That's probably not. You go to the archives in St. Louis and Kansas City and pull up his police record. Had a white woman selling drugs, and he was selling drugs in fact before he got himself together. Before his brother came in. When his brother came in, Wallace, Herbert, Jr., all of them got on the sooner because Wallace wasn't playing with him. So that's what went down. Next question before we close out.
Have you ever had any dealings with Mustafa Muhammad?
What Mustafa Muhammad?
No, I mean X. William X. What's his name?
Mustafa, my guy. Mustafa was my guy. But as I said before, Fred, he was my guy, but he was more close to Ali than that crew, because he come out of that crew. Oh, we would talk. Him and Sister Calvin, they all showed me love and respect because they know my issue with Minister Jeremiah. Right. I never had a problem with Mustafa. Always showed me respect. He know that I know about 1955. He know that I know. But we never went there because he got on the sooner. Muhammad knew it. And even the mayor knew it. But you working for the mayor and you don't know what's going on, brother? Let me tell you this, brother. God is my judge. This was crazy, Fred, how that went down. We got about 10 minutes before my car service comes. Okay. Next question. Let me go back to the South question. You remember that guy with Amy Goodman, the show Who Killed Malcolm? That Muslim brother Abdullah? Yes. He came to Newark. Them brother was going to kill him. Mustafa was still alive then. Them brother was going to kill him in Newark. He didn't know he was being set up. I come down the street. I met Muhammad, who worked for Carl and Don King, said, we're going to kill this nigga. So he turned this corner. He around here trying to stir up trouble. A man been dead over 40 years at that time. He didn't know. So I come down the block. I said, no. I said, we don't do that in Islam. We're Muslim now. We ain't following Elijah. We don't do that. Leave that brother alone. If he think he's saying what he's saying, but he don't have no proof. He tried to get the Mustafa. Brothers told him. White folks told him, no, don't mess with that brother, man, because you might wind up in a box. That's why that Abdullah, he never went to Mustafa's house with Sister Calvin. They had the gym. He tried to sneak in the gym. Brother was watching. He was scared and knew. He went to the mayor. The mayor knew who Mustafa was, but nobody really knew. You can't tell by the tape is that Mustafa. You can't tell by the tape. Only brothers that was there that know Mustafa know. I'm pretty sure you watched the tape.
Yes.
You couldn't really tell if that was Mustafa now.
No, I can't tell.
But me and Ali knew that it was him. He knew that it was him. May Allah give him granting paradise and forgive him of his sin for killing his brother. But it is what it is. See, Fred, you can't blame the shooter. You got to blame the ones that ordered it and the one that created the diamonds. So you got to blame Elijah, John Ali, Yusuf Shaw, Minister James Shabazz, and the two sisters.
Boom, boom, boom.
Captain Raymond III, he didn't have no power. He was Supreme Captain. He didn't have no power. Yusuf Shaw had more power than him. I had more power than him in Philadelphia. He was the Supreme Captain. So all those guys were just on the payroll, bro. They were on the payroll. So if you got to watch that tape, Chris, and you can see where I'm coming. Betty Chabal said those that shot the shotgun, they got the shotgun. What is she talking about? But James Chabal.
Right.
And Ali told you that.
Right.
He was in the community, and Ali was a young soldier.
What's
See,
your
Ali's
relationship
never was
with
a
James
street guy.
Shabazz?
He's more the street guy. What'd you say, Brother Fred?
What's your relationship with James Shabazz?
I hated that motherfucker, man. See, Fred, he had power in Newark, but he didn't have no power around the country. He hated Malcolm because Malcolm had all the lights and newspaper was on Malcolm. All the program was on Malcolm. If you watched all the series, every Malcolm doing all the interviews at college, major radio stations, main network, even Mike Wallace, all of them interviewed Malcolm in the early 60s and 50s.
Right.
So Malcolm was a star. I don't know what John Ali talking about. Malcolm earned the praise these kids giving him. He earned it.
Right.
Who talking about Elijah? Elijah built the nation. He didn't build a nation. He opened the doors, but Malcolm built the nation. And the Imam World B. Muhammad, his son, you see, his son didn't believe with his father because his father put his son out. And his nephew, Chaplain Raymond Sharif, son, he's still alive out there in Chicago. See, you notice Farrakhan never talk about John Ali.
¿Usted está buscando cómo emigrar legalmente a los Estados Unidos? Quédese atento porque...
Only person he talked about from the military was Captain Sam. And you don't talk about using Shaw no more. Farrakhan owned that. He begging God to let him to paradise.
Right.
For his sins.
Right.
Last question, Greg. My car service coming.
I know. Warif D. Muhammad. Warif D. Muhammad. I know you guys may have had extended conversation.
That's my brother, man. That was my guy. See, Fred, let me tell you how we got close. He put me out. He came to Philadelphia, November 1976, said, we're going to remake the world. He said, I'm setting down all my captains, Captain Leon Muhammad, who's a known extortion artist, check casher, and a bar owner and a number writer. You relieved in your post. I'm not putting you out of the community. You got to fly right. He signed Minister Jeremiah down, but he signed Jeremiah to New York. He couldn't really set Jeremiah down because he knew he might have had some problems. Farrakhan got to Chicago because we were going to kill Farrakhan in New York. He was talking trash. So Jeremiah said he had to go. So he called Imam World B. Muhammad. You know, Farrakhan went away for 2 years, went to the island, drinking wine with his wife. Then he came back and opened the door and said, I'm going to rebuild the nation. That's how that went down, brother. But World B. Muhammad was my guy. When I got back with Imam World B. Muhammad, Ali Muhammad tell you the same story. Ali made me get up. Ali's son, Amir Muhammad, made me get up and said, brother, my father and I, we taking care of you. I was living in the shelter in Newark. I had messed up a lot of money, gambling, whatever. Got broke on my way to the federal penitentiary. He said, get up and go see the Imam. Marad Muhammad, they pulled me out of my seat, said, you gonna go hug your brother. That's your brother. When he hugged me, kissed me, he said, brother, I love you. I did what I had to do to get to where we at today. That was about a year before he passed.
You're Warif D. Muhammad, correct?
Talking about Imam Warif D. Muhammad, a.k.a. Wallace D. Muhammad, the baby son of Sister Claire and the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, a.k.a. Elijah Poole, from Tannersville, Georgia, born October 7, 1897.
Have you had conversations with Warif D. Muhammad about Malcolm X?
I asked him. We were sitting around and I said, brother, he said, look at the works that I've done for Malcolm. I kept his name alive. I built that mosque up there in New York and put his name up there. My sister and them didn't want me to do it, but I did it because he earned it. He helped my father build the nation. Really, he built the nation after he come home. My father started, and Malcolm took him to a new level. You got to understand, all them street hustlers that came in, they knew Malcolm. From his days as a pimp, number writer, and a big meeting. And Farrakhan brought in all them Calypso singers, Nina Simone and all of them hanging around the nation donating. He brought all of them in. Malcolm had connection with RJD and all of them. And Willie Mays and all of them. Those was Malcolm's people. He'd come uptown to the Sequoia and the small paradise. So everybody played his purpose. Jeremiah brought in all the gang war kids out of Philadelphia. Farrakhan brought in all the music people out of Boston. And Malcolm had New York. James Shabazz couldn't bring no superstars because Sarah Vaughan and Lennon Jones, all them superstar singers that came out of Asbury Park, Billy Jackson, all of them, they didn't mess with James Shabazz. They went to the mosque to see Malcolm. See what I'm saying? That's what that is. So, you know, it is what it is. So, you know, I get a pass it back. Thank you. Hold this for me. Thank you, honey. So you see what I'm saying, Fred?
Yes.
So now I'm gonna. You got one last final question. I'm going outside now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. You got one last final question?
Yeah. Muhammad Ali. Have you ever had any conversations with Muhammad Ali as it pertains to Malcolm X, and since you spent a lot of time with him?
Ali said to us that move he made for Sean and Malcolm, that was a mistake. Aaron Snowell, Marwan Muhammad was right there. He said that was a mistake. That was a mistake. That was a mistake that he made. We good, brother?
Yeah.
I'll call you
tomorrow. Hold on for a second. Any final words you want to say to the people?
Wind your window down. Hold on, friend. Who you for? Huh? Leon Mohammed? Let me get the chair stuff. Open truck. That's my car service. I want to say, Fred, thank you. Appreciate you. God is merciful. And we'll close up after the fight, because the fight is coming. And we thank God for all those that came for those damn times. So call me right back when I get in the car.
I will.
Okay?
All right, now you heard it from that horse's mouth. I don't know what else to say. Let me make a comment on this, and I'm going to let it rest. And I'm not going to be speaking about the NOI anymore. There must be accountability. When you are, what's the word for that? When you are asking black folk to unite, to join, to come together, as the Nation of Islam has done over the last, 100 plus years with the Nation of Islam, starting with Elijah Muhammad and following Fard Muhammad, which I don't understand because that white bastard ain't shit, never has been shit, never will be shit. Just really get into who was Fard Muhammad. Why are you following a white motherfucker? Muhammad, the actual creator of Islam, was a black man. Muhammad. His family is still in existence. Muhammad. Where does this motherfucking Fard Muhammad come from? A white bitch and bastard. You feel what I'm saying? So when you are starting an organization, I don't give a damn what it is, but in particular, the NOI, you gotta be clean You gotta be right. You gotta talk frankly and honestly. And you got to know your shit. The upper echelons of the organization of NOI, the Nation of Islam, is only benefiting a few, while millions upon millions, if not tens of millions, comes in worldwide. And none of them dollars have been used to politically and economically challenge white superiority, because it's really simple to understand. I went into the whole spiel of this at the beginning of this show. Use the 1866 Civil Rights Act and the Enforcement Act. None of them niggas in the NOI lawyers don't know a motherfucking thing. They're pimping your asses. That's all they do. The NOI is not a religion. It is a pimping organization. I want to say that again. It is a pimping, religious, want-to-be organization. There is nothing solid about it. What has it done in its 100+ years of existence? Not a damn thing. Except for firebrand preaching by Farrakhan, who had many wives and many kids, and who fell on his knees when the white media got in on and on the back of Khalid Muhammad. He shut him down like a bitch ass nigga that he is. That's not black first. That's not Nation of Islam first. That's not nothing first. It's just a Johnny come lately Farrakhan cooning ass nigga. Never giving an audience to our beloved brother who is dead now, Khalid Muhammad. Shut him down, put him out. And all our men wanted to do was to talk to his spiritual father. And to be honest with you, that's probably what killed him. He died from an aneurysm. Who knows? Maybe the NOI was in on that too. I don't know. But I do know when Khalid Muhammad stood behind that podium, his whole world was shocked. His whole world was disappointed. His whole world was crushed when the Nation of Islam fucking failed him. When he believed and had all the faith of the Nation of Islam, thinking they were going to back him. They did not. And so I'm just glad, to be honest, it's just a commentary, that I never joined the Nation of Islam. I was like maybe 16, 17. This is in the 80s, somewhere like 85. And I'm looking at, Farrakhan and other speakers like, okay, it's not a synagogue, it's not a rabbi, it's just some bitch ass nigga talking that sweet talk and getting you to rile up. You know what I mean? And you're pumping your fist at the white man. And I knew that was some bullshit. Even then, at I don't know how old I was. Like 86, somewhere 85. And I knew it was bullshit. And that's the reason why I never joined. I went and took my black ass right back to my synagogue. So this next video is not that long. It's only 11 minutes, and I'm going to be done forever and a day about the Muslims of Islam, the Nation of Islam. And I'm not going to say not a motherfucking word no more. I am truly disappointed in the Nation of Islam. That people are not questioning this shit. They're just looking at Elijah Muhammad, Fard Muhammad, Farrakhan to be angels. They're men. They're normal men whose shit stinks when they take a shit. Who sometimes, or many times, I don't know, they breath stink. They're human. God damn, they're human. But they got so caught up in their own self-importance that they lacked the testicular fortitude to fight on behalf of black folk politically, economically, spiritually, and physically. I've never seen the Nation of Islam fighting with the police on behalf of some folk. I might be wrong, but I doubt it. Because it's all an internal thing. It's all a scam. It's all scrambling for the next position to get in, like Farrakhan did. And he was the number 2 guy. He wanted to be the number 1 guy. He ended up giving the order to kill Malcolm. And from that position, he was able to become the spokesman for the Nation of Islam. And up until this very moment, 91, 92, 93 years old, that's just something he has to live with. That's none of the majority of people in the Nation of Islam trying to make a difference. Good brothers, good sisters, good kids coming in. But like I said in the beginning, you got to know what the fuck happened, why it happened, how it happened, get what, when, where, and how. Because if you don't clean up the Nation of Islam's house, a house divided cannot stand, man. I have nothing against the Nation of Islam. I love the Nation of Islam. But it had lost its true focus. Political, economic, spiritual empowerment. And if necessary, killing motherfuckers. Because our enemy, white folks, are not playing no motherfucking game. They're not. I have yet to see or even heard of the Nation of Islam coming out, gun drawn, who have federal licenses or whatever the case may be, or even attorneys, doing the simplest of shit. Bonds for the win, the Enforcement Acts, and the Civil Rights Act of 1866. What the fuck are you doing? You're taking their money, and where did that money go? That's all I want to know. And you ain't gonna never get no motherfucking answer. Not ever. So let's go on to this last one. I'm gonna be done with the Nation of Islam, and we'll be right.
A lot of my readings said Minister Farrakhan said that they were his wives. Were they Elijah Muhammad wives, or were they?
You can call you everything you want. They weren't his wives. They don't want no wives. No one's supposed to have one wife in this country. Otherwise, it's bigamy. And we're not supposed to break any laws as long as it doesn't. You know, people tell you, so now that I'm older, it's a crock. Oh, this wife thing is a crock. Ain't no wives. It's some other woman. To be honest with yourself. There ain't no wives. I saw his wife and his children.
9 Wives, that movie. If you haven't seen 9 Wives, it's a motherfucker. It was produced by that guy by the name of Fred, who was the host and owner of Barbershop Conversations.
And the children from the wife that he had, that's all I see. All the other stuff is a crock. You can call them whatever you want to make you feel good, make you feel okay. Give yourself an out or give yourself an excuse. But they were just women. He wasn't married, but the one wife. So I don't want to hear that wives crap. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in any of it. So I don't want nobody to be set out. That was his what? No, that was his woman or his hoe or whatever. It ain't no wives. And I'm being honest with you, and I'm being serious.
Now this one, look, I never seen this one. The son of Master Fard Muhammad, new photograph. Yeah, I did see this one. I did see it. I think I played this last week. I'm sorry. So let's continue.
Straight up with you, and I do not hold my tongue about the truth. There ain't no wife. Ali tried to pass that thing off. There ain't no wife. It's your hoe or your woman or whatever. But it ain't your wife, and I hate to be rude or anything like that, but I'm just being honest. It's your trollop that you do anything you want with her in spite of you having a wife and disrespecting her. And it's just wrong. I'm sorry. And falling for that wives thing. Because if you want to know what wives are about, go to the Middle East. There was wives for a reason back in the day in the Middle East. Not in Chicago, not in LA, not in Atlanta, in the Middle East. They had more than one wife because of a reason, because of the war.
Hold on. Oh shit, I'm gonna have to play this one now. How Elijah Muhammad and his son stole millions from Muhammad Ali. That's gonna be my next one. Hold on.
You know, but it was a different kind of connection. It wasn't about having sex with them or having kids with them. It was about them taking care of the husband that they used to have because they have children and they need to eat. And they would take on these wives to take care of them. It wasn't nothing personal. Then it started getting personal. Now it's personal. But in order for you to get another wife, one, if you read the Quran, it tells you she has to have a weakness of some kind. She can't have children, or she can't clean up, or she has to be a wounded woman, somebody who can't take the chores of a wife. That's saying a lot. And number two, the wife has to choose the wife. Now you need to read the fine print when you go over there. It's serious, you know. But this was outright just going with another woman. Bottom line, no joke. I'm not going to patronize it. I'm not going to clarify it. Nothing like that. No. And it was wrong. And I think most of all, I think that hurt Malcolm X more than anything because he had a wife. He was loyal to his wife. He was loyal to the mother of his children. He was loyal. He thought damn Elijah Muhammad was loyal. And it broke his heart to find out he wasn't. There you go. I talked to him personally. He didn't like that at all. And I told him I didn't like it at all either. He's a good man. He was a true Muslim.
Can you expound on the relationship? I mean, on the conversation you had with Malcolm as a regard? And two, Malcolm alleged. I'm going to use the word alleged that they were some were underage, some were overage. Can you expound on that as well?
He was alleged what?
I said Malcolm alleged that some of Elijah's women were underage and overage and secretaries. Can you expound on that?
I guess they were, because they were there. I seen them. I seen them myself. It's all true. It's all true.
What's underage? Are you?
I
under 18 then, or under 17? What's underage then?
Well, the fact of it is, he shouldn't have been with anybody other than his wife. basically, if anything is underage, when they say we get married and we're not underage when the mother and father gives them away. These women did not do that. Their fathers did not give them away to an unrealized Muhammad. He was not blessed or given away blessed when he was married to another woman. None of that happened. None of that. So whether they were aged or underage, it shouldn't have been there in the first place because he was already married, really. He was already married. And nobody could have been his wife legally other than his wife. Period. Let's face the truth. Whether she's underage or it doesn't matter. The fact that she's just another woman going with another man and he's married is wrong. Period. Alright? There's no wives. Now let me tell you something. Now there's a time where Ali said Veronica claims that Ali married him in Africa. How's Muhammad Ali gonna marry Veronica in Africa when I'm married to him already? So whatever he conned her to believe, that was just to get in her pants. And she fell for it because he did not marry her in Africa. And if he already married her, why would he get married after I divorced her? So what was all that about? So the truth always comes out, bro. The truth always comes out. A man will tell you anything to get you where he wants you to be. That's the conduct y'all can run on people. Other men run on people. I'm not going to say you, Robinson. It's a con. It's all a con. And if she fell for that con, that was just how she wanted to fall for it. Yeah. I bet you if I put a gun in front of their face and they talk to me, they ain't going to say that happened. Because it's not going to be true. You know what? And what I dislike is when the woman on the outside get more top billing than the wife itself. How does that go? They praise people going with other women's husbands. Why is that? Why do they praise that so much? Like Tiger Woods, the woman that he went with got more publicity than his own wife.
Hold on. Hold on.
Go that route. They should be embarrassed. They shouldn't even be seen. They should be kept out of the papers. Because it's a disrespectful move. It is not honorable at all. I don't know why they gee ha smiling like it's a great thing. I mean, I had a woman, Veronica was walking around and sleeping with him and traveling with him right in front, broad daylight. If I was not a Muslim, she would be dead and buried already. But I respect myself. I just can't do that. But
I'll hand it over to DB in a sec. Can you expound on the conversation you and Malcolm had as it pertains to finding out that Elijah Muhammad had all? How many women was it, would you say? In addition to the 7 women that he had kids, would you say?
Well, I know about the 7 ones that had kids. Okay. I know about them. I don't know about anybody. I know about the 7 that he's mentioned. I see them all the time. I see them every day. So, yeah. Don't you think that's a bit much? Don't you supposed to have 4 wives? Oh, he didn't want to bond that. He went beyond that, right? That's kind of way beyond the criteria, right? It's supposed to be 4 wives.
I can't answer that. I'm just...
Because it's just, you know what? Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's just take any man going with any woman right now today that's single. How many women did they go with within a year's time? They ain't going to be 7. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
It ain't going to be 7.
I get it.
It ain't going to be 4. You can't even count them. They can't count them. They ain't go through women like we walk through the doors. You can't keep up with that count. They have the same problem when they're tracking AIDS. Like, they try to track down how many men, how you going to do it? You can't keep it up. I mean, you can't track. The average man today cannot say how many women he went with in a week's time. A week. I know women has gone through 20 men in a week. I know it. Oh, yeah. They do the same thing men do. They don't care. They let them go through them. It means nothing. It's boom, 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 gone. Boom, 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 gone. That's how free these people are out here doing all this craziness. I've seen movies like Snatch. What I went through, I've seen women go to jail killing people for somebody messing with their husband. Snatch, gone. Just on the misery and the pain. And they snap. And they will kill you. You're messing with somebody who has loved you, cherished you, did everything they can for you, and then all of a sudden, you go home and you catch a woman in your bed? Wow, bro. That's some heavy stuff.
Now this, I didn't even catch the name, but this was the ex-wife of Muhammad Ali, telling you the real deal. I didn't catch the name. And I think this is the mother of the boxer, Lila Ali, I think, maybe. But this is just damning, to say the least. Espérate, estoy haciendo mi show. And, man, well, like I said, it's going to be the last night I do this. I'm going to play this last one, how Elijah Muhammad and his son stole $1 million from Muhammad Ali. So let's get at it.
So we'll go story time. I'm not sure if you guys saw the documentary on PBS and or saw my film. Click the link in my description box and watch my film 9 Wives, and it will explain to you in great detail as to what I'm saying. And I'm doing this video because I'm glad, because it substantiates my interviews and my truths. As it pertains to what I'm talking about with Muhammad Ali's money. I've interviewed Bob Arum. I've interviewed John Ali, who was the national secretary who handled Muhammad Ali's money, along with Jabir Herbert Muhammad, and from 1967 to 1977, Muhammad Ali's wife. Now, at when Muhammad Ali came into the Nation of Islam, you couldn't play music, you couldn't do sport, you couldn't do nothing outside of the Nation of Islam. So Elijah Muhammad, in the beginning, didn't take to Muhammad Ali boxing.
Now, hold on. This is Charlton White. I'm pretty sure y'all probably know who Charlton White is. He has a video. I'm not going to play it, but it has a video stating his thoughts on Elijah Muhammad was a child molester, and our wife kept it a secret. So, this is too much fucking evidence, man. Too much evidence. Let go.
But when his son told him that we could make money, he aligned himself with Muhammad Ali, who in turn aligned himself with Bob Arum, and they created something which is called Main Bouts. Right? Main Bouts was the promotional company in which the Nation of Islam used to funnel money through Muhammad Ali to the Nation of Islam, and Bob Arum and them would split. All right. So, and the reason why this is important in the beginning is because we forget years ago, Louis Farrakhan gave up his budding singing entertainment career for the sake of the Nation of Islam. And that's why today you don't see Louis Farrakhan in many of these documentaries and or films, because there was a great deal of jealousy between Louis Farrakhan and Muhammad Ali and his ascension, and him using sports and entertainment to gain fame and money, whereas Louis Farrakhan did not. All right. Now, Here's how the money worked. Bob Arum, and if you've been on my show, you've heard me ask him these questions publicly, and I have 20 hours of between John Ali and Muhammad Ali's wife, which I will give out. I don't know when, but I have it. Bob Arum and John Ali and Jabir Herbert Muhammad, which is Elijah Muhammad's son, would, let's say, go in the back room and split the proceeds the night of the fight. And then when part one, and then when they would get the closed circuit money, they would split that amongst themselves because they had the deal. Muhammad Ali's deal with the Nation of Islam was separate from the deal he made with Bob Arum. It is on record. And I've seen paperwork that Nation of Islam took 33% off top. Okay? And with that being said, his check would be 33%. But keep in mind, he never knew the percentage of the gate in which he received. He never knew the we call it pay-per-views today, the closed circuit that he actually got paid for. Because Bob Arum and Jabir and John Ali would split the money in the back on both ends, then take it to Chicago, and then pay Muhammad Ali. Now fast forward now. Muhammad Ali got suspended. And I remember this in the interview. Muhammad Ali got suspended. John Ali told me this too, for bragging about money. For saying that I'm making money off boxing. I just bought a Rolls Royce. He became very, very flamboyant. So Elijah Muhammad suspended him, right? And why is that important? Because even when Elijah Muhammad suspended him, listen to me, follow me, he still got paid off of Muhammad Ali's salaries. You get what I'm saying? He suspended him, but silently to the people that was going to the mosque, they thought Muhammad Ali was suspended and was detached from the Nation of Islam. But when in fact Jabir Herbert Muhammad was still doing business with now Don King, and it was in the past Bob Arum. So they would still make the deals, take the money to Chicago, and then pay Muhammad Ali. And the reason why that is important is because over the duration of his career, Nation of Islam stole millions off the books from Muhammad Ali. But here's the most important thing. Who was left with the tax bill? Muhammad Ali was left with the tax bill because the Nation of Islam never paid taxes. How did they clear Muhammad Ali's money? It was called charity. So when Muhammad Ali gave money to Elijah Muhammad, it was considered charity. So he never had to pay taxes on the money that he stole from Muhammad Ali. And so with that being said, Muhammad Ali never ever really knew how much money he made. Never. And I've had first person accounts from John Ali who explained to me how they took the money and how they debied up the money. Bob Arum came in the barbershop and explained to us illicitly how they debied up the money. He even called John Ali peculiar. That was his quote. And he said Herbert Muhammad was very money driven. And as you guys can see, history proves that he was very, very money driven. If Muhammad Ali had a mink coat, Herbert Muhammad had a mink coat. If Herbert Muhammad had two girls, if Muhammad Ali had two girls, Herbert Muhammad had two girls, and that was the truth. Now, here's how they got Muhammad Ali in the beginning, so you guys know. They ran this tale that if Muhammad Ali doesn't have the Nation of Islam protection, the mob would, one, kill him, and two, rob him of all his money. And and these are the absolute truths, man. And
now, just to add a little sauce to that, I do recall Muhammad Ali going to Elijah Muhammad, complaining about the mob and that he wasn't willing to fix the fight and that they would blow his knees out. And the mob would blow the knees out of Muhammad Ali. Elijah Muhammad told Muhammad Ali to go back and tell them they got knees too. So I'm just saying.
Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam via Herbert Muhammad stole millions upon millions of dollars from Muhammad Ali, and this is well documented. I hope you guys watch the PBS series. It's an amazing tale, and more importantly, click the link in my bio and you can watch 9 Wives, and it talks about Elijah Muhammad stealing money from Muhammad Ali using his son, and the reason why, and people always say the Nation of Islam created main bouts. They couldn't be on the record of having a business of that magnitude because it would open up their entire books. You get what I'm saying? So that's why they allowed Bob Arum to take control, because they wanted all of Muhammad Ali's contributions to be considered charity. And you cannot refute these facts in 2021 because it's well documented. And at some point in my life, I'm going to sit down and do a documentary only on first-person accounts. I only use first-person accounts, not my opinion, because you guys know my opinion about Elijah Muhammad. I think he's a crook, and I think he's a pedophile. And it's been proven that he is based off of the ages of his wives and his kids. So again, it's a sad truth when the man who called himself God in the flesh actually stole money from the GOAT. And
look, like I said, stop following motherfuckers, man. Follow your own dreams, your own thoughts, your own goals. Stop following motherfuckers who take a shit just like you and they shit stinks.
And I want every fighter that watches this video, share this video, share this video, because it's important that if Muhammad Ali can be robbed, 100% access to his career. And these are the truths. So anyways, man, Barbershop Conversations, click the link. And these are the stone cold truth. As I said, I got over 20 hours of interview footage of John Ali and Muhammad Ali's wife at the time from 67 to 77. Now keep in mind, Muhammad Ali was never reinstated into the Nation of Islam. And you guys say, why did Muhammad Ali fight so long? Because Herbert was addicted to the money. Anyways, man, Barbershop Conversations. I appreciate you guys, and hopefully I've explained it and great understanding so you guys understand. And click the link and watch 9 Wives. I think it's incredible. We've in 16 film festivals, and I think we're gonna keep on going and going and going. So I appreciate y'all, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace, guys.
All right. This one is 32 minutes long. I'm just gonna put it on the comment section and let that be that. Hold on. So you can watch it on your own free time, because I really want to stay focused on tonight's show. I was just trying to do a last minute add-on, I guess, whatever the case may be, and that's it. I'm not going to be talking about the NOI anymore. I'm sickened by that shit, and it's just beyond me that, it happened. It happened. So, whatever. So let's get on with tonight's show. This one is dealing with the AFRICOM, who the 4-star General Michael Langley admits is responsible for the coups in Africa, as if we don't know. So we're gonna go to this one. This one is 22 minutes, and I'll be right back.
Did you know that there were 14 successful coups as well as failed attempts since 2007? Yeah, that's very significant, and that's something we're going to talk about today. Now, why 2007? Now, 2007 is significant because that is when the AFRICOM program was initiated by George Bush. And ever since that occurred in 2007, October of 2007 to be precise, there have been 17 countries that have experienced coups in Africa. You can almost argue that there has been coups in Africa every other year since 2007. 2008 coup, 2009, 2010, 12, 13, 15, 2020, 2021, 22, 23, and the recent attempt on Ibrahim Traore's life in 2025. All of this have been in mostly areas where Africa is operating. We're going to have a good conversation about that. Before we do, I want you to take a look at this interview by General Michael Langley, where he's being grilled by Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz on the impact AFRICOM is having in Africa. As a matter of fact, what I want you to pay attention in this interview is that Matt Gaetz is standing on the fact that AFRICOM is helping to train military soldiers who are committing coups in Africa. And so this is a very interesting conversation. Please take a look at this. I'll have a conversation about this.
General Langley, I have constituents that have been scattered across Africa on train and equip missions. So just ballpark, in the last decade, how many Africans has the United States military trained and equipped?
Congressman, I don't have that figure. I can get that figure for you.
Ballpark, just, how many?
Congressman, it would be a wild guess.
Seems like something we should know, right?
Over the years, we have trained a substantial number, especially in the Gulf of Guinea states. But
like more than 10,000?
It is more than 10,000.
More than 50,000?
I'd say we're reaching around 50,000.
Okay. And what percentage of the people we've trained end up participating in insurrections or coups against their own government?
Very small number, Congressman. Very small number.
So what percentage do you think?
I'd say probably less than 1%.
Less than 1%, he says, when asked how many of those trainings in these African countries have resulted in insurrection or coups. He says less than 1%. Okay, let's take a look at that because that is false. So AFRICOM is currently present in 8 out of the 17 countries that experienced coups in the last 18 years. These countries are Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea, Chad, Mauritania, the Gambia, and Egypt. 8 out of those 17 countries have all experienced coups. Now, 8 out of 17, that is not less than 1%. As a matter of fact, that is exactly 47% if you do the math on that. So I don't know where he's getting less than 1% from. So AFRICOM has been responsible for 47% of the coups that have occurred in Africa. That is staggering. I want you to also take a look at when he was grilled about the training and the individuals that are being trained through the AFRICOM program, who have then gone on to topple the government in those countries. Take a look at how he answers the question, how he dabbles. He struggles in this entire testimony, but take a look at how he answers this particular question.
Very small number, Congressman. Very small number.
So what percentage do you think?
I'd say probably less than 1%.
But it does happen.
The IMET program is in force, and we push a significant number through our schools across the.
Yeah, and what data sets do you track to arrive at the conclusion that less than 1% of the roughly 50,000 that we've trained have participated in coups? It'd be like about 500, about 1% of 50,000.
Congressman, you may have that information. I don't at this time.
I know there are some, right? Like go ahead and throw up that image. This is Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, and this is a photo of him. Did we train and equip him in Guinea?
By name, I cannot identify that.
Well, that guy in the middle with the big red hat, Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, that's him with a bunch of U.S. service members outside of our embassy. And just months after this photo was taken, in 2021, he led a coup in Guinea and threw out the leader. Does that concern you?
Congressman, core values is what we start off with in IMA programs.
Do we share core values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Core values. I will repeat that. Core values.
I know.
Respect for humanity.
Do we share those values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Absolutely. In our curriculum.
He led a coup.
We do.
Okay, that's a very telling answer. In Burkina Faso, did we share core values with the leader that we trained there who led a coup?
¿Tienes una idea de negocio y quieres llevarla al mundo online? Con GoDaddy, dale el...
It's in our curriculum. We stress core values, request civilian-led governance.
Wait, hold on. Is leading coups in our curriculum?
So he was asked, of the 1%, which he stated, of the so-called 50,000 military training that AFRICOM has provided in Africa since its inception in 2007, how was he able to track that number? He wasn't able to give a definitive response to that. And then he was asked and pressed on Mamadi Doumbouya, the military junta, who is currently right now occupying the presidency in Guinea. He was not able to provide an accurate response. So one can actually say that every place that U.S. has a base or so-called CSL, cooperative security locations in Africa, these places have actually had coups in the last 18 years. That is a staggering figure. Now, one thing I want you to be aware of is while you're watching Matt Gaetz pressing on this, Matt Gaetz isn't on our side. Matt Gaetz is not looking out for Africa. He's not pressing Langley on the fact that why are we in Africa when our presence there is causing a coup. That is not the stance that Matt Gaetz is taking here. What Matt Gaetz is actually alluding to is that we are training people to topple the puppet leaders that we put in place. It is actually a concern for U.S. congressmen and U.S. Officials that these coups are occurring because when they put puppet leaders in these areas, and then they are in there conducting so-called training. These trainings result to coups that then go on to overthrow the puppet leaders whom they put in there. So that is a direct effect of the Africa program, which isn't aligned to U.S. interests in Africa. So that is the Matt Gaetz stance. So don't think of him drilling him, right, because he cares for Africa. No, they're very concerned that our presence there is counter-effective. We are there to provide the so-called training so we can spy and do an espionage in these countries. However, what we're seeing is that these trainings have now resulted to coups which have overthrown puppet leaders whom we put there to secure our interest in Africa. Okay. Do you remember Dr. Celeste Wallinger? Dr. Celeste Wallinger, who is the Assistant Secretary of Defense for International Security Affairs. Remember what she said about the African program. Just in case you don't remember, I want you to take a look at what she said a couple of years ago and why that program is very important and essential for the survival of the United States. Take a listen to this.
On the AFRICOM AOR, Africa is not merely important, it is essential. African partnerships are critical for the Department of Defense to maintain its technological edge, accomplish its geopolitical and strategic objectives, and power our future.
Okay, so when you are piecing this whole thing together, and you're trying to understand why AFRICOM is in Africa, for the life of me, I don't even know why Africa would entertain foreign bases in their countries. For the life of me, I don't understand that, right? But let's just put that aside and let's deal with the hypocrisy of the United States, right? what they say AFRICOM program is there. What we've often heard is they're there to provide military training because they're so sophisticated and Africa has very poor military training. So they're there to help indigenous out so they can fight terrorism and they can help to eliminate global terrorism. This is the official stance of Africa. This is what you hear about them. But what we've often heard, the contracting that on the lips of officials like the Assistant Secretary of International Affairs, Dr. Celeste Wallander, is that AFRICOM is not only providing a strategic partnership for the United States military defense, it is also for the survival of the United States in terms of mining rights, mineral resources, access to mineral resources in Africa. That is exactly why they're there. That is why 8 out of the 17 countries that have had coups in the last 18 years, where AFRICOM is located, has largely been because of the mineral resources in those countries. You see the contradiction here. You see the mouthpiece that they go around talking about the good deeds they're doing in Africa, while it is actually for the exploitation of those mineral resources. They want to have mineral rights. And so when you see China and Russia having an influence in Africa, in these areas, especially the ones in the Francophone countries, who had coups in the last 5 years, Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, when you see the Sahel regions, Guinea, Chad, when you see those areas, and the presence of China and Russia in those areas, it gives them a huge concern because they know that China has been expanding its presence in Africa, largely through the project that China has been embarked on or funding in Africa. But more importantly, they are now starting to see China wanting to have a military presence in Africa. So far, China doesn't have bases except the one in Djibouti in Africa. But that is probably going to change. And they're afraid of that China is quickly gaining access to mineral rights in Africa, which could fund their defense project in their country to make them even more large and formidable than the United States. That is a fear that the United States has. It's a major concern because one of the big things that the United States boasts of is its military industrial complex. It is one of the biggest things the United States boasts of. I mean, U.S. nowadays cannot really boast of a lot of things. The economy is shrinking every year, but the one thing that they spend a lot of money on is the defense. Every year, every president adds a defense contract, defense budget, because they understand that if a country is able to protect itself militarily, and a country is able to defend its borders, or a country is able to show military strength, it sends a type of message clear to any adversaries or partners we're not the ones to mess with, right? So they understand that. And so what they're doing is under the guise of so-called fighting terrorism, they're planting these bases in Africa because they know Africa is weak and they're not able to defend themselves. So while they're there, they're gaining mineral rights under the guise of this so-called initiative, corrupting puppet leaders or placing puppet leaders in those positions. And so when you hear Matt Gaetz say, hey, hold on a second, and he's grilling Michael Langley and telling him, like, hold on, we are training people who are then causing coups in Africa. What he's echoing is that we are shooting ourselves in the foot because we're training people who then topple governments that we put in there so we can mooch off of those countries. Again, I'm going to ask a question. I don't know why, for the life of me, Africa would allow foreign bases on their soil. I don't get it. I don't get it. Now, that is a problem for Africa. I said in my last video that the biggest threat to Africa is Africa. The biggest threat. Because what that essentially has done is brought the invaders to your country, right? You open the doors to your invaders who have now come in They are providing so-called training, which is not top-notch. They are stealing intelligence from your countries. They're able to go in and use their drones and test drone.
Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry.
Drones in your country, which are then spying around your countries to find the vulnerable areas in your countries. Those drone testings have been a huge success for the United States because when they have eyes in the sky, they're able to then gather intelligence on groups in Africa who aren't getting along. They're able to gather intelligence on vulnerable areas in Africa, in certain borders, in bordering countries in Africa. They're able to gather those intelligence, take it back, and then construct a military defense operations, which they can then, if Africans get out of, in any African countries, get out of pocket, they can then use that information to silence them or cause some insurrection in their countries. Again, I don't know for the life of me why any government in Africa will sign up for that unless they're paid, which is actually what's going on. They're paid under the table by the United States, the CIA, who come in to sign this agreement, like the one that was just signed in Algeria, to plant a base. So Algeria is about to have a base. There's one that was recently signed in 2024 in Ivory Coast. They're going to plant a base in Ivory Coast. So AFRICOM wants to expand its footprint in a lot of African countries, mostly West Africa. And these puppet leaders are placed there for a reason, for especially these types of things. And so when these coups then occur as a result of the so-called training they are providing, it is essentially a problem for the United States because it is against their interests. So language is going around to figure out exactly how they solve this problem. So I'm going to say this and I'm going to close. Africans will need to realize that the leaders who have put us in the predicament that we're in aren't going to save us. The leaders who have sold Africa to the West and Europe, to foreigners who have then come in and destabilize our countries, our regions, increase poverties in our countries. Those puppet leaders aren't going to save Africa. They're going to keep plunging Africa into the abyss. What's going to save Africa are the Africans who live in these African countries. The Africans who are in various African countries will need to stand up, like we're seeing in various countries, push back through protests, push back through lending their voices and speaking up against these military bases in their countries. Another thing that Africans can do is boycott corporations who are directly benefiting from this presence of military bases in Africa, corporations in the West and Europe. Boycott those companies and those products in your countries, because the reason why those companies are there and the reason why AFRICOM is there is to protect the interests of those companies in your country. So when you think about Nestle products, when you think about Johnson & Johnson, when you think about Starbucks and coffee beans, when you think about McDonald's, the corporation, when you think about those fast food chains, the reason why they're there is largely because of your resources. And when they extract those resources at pennies on the dollars, is largely because U.S. government are in those countries ensuring that their assets on the ground are protected. So when Africans begin to boycott those companies in your country, it will hurt their pocket. You have essentially have begun doing something that is significant. Because simply just having protests on the street is one, because you're essentially making your voice heard. However, when you take actions which hurts the pockets of these corporations, who are the ones benefiting from the presence of AFRICOM there, that's really significant. So until Africans begin to do that, you're not going to see a withdrawal of these bases in your country. It's just going to be an expansion of that. So I think that will be a game changer for Africa to begin boycotting. And Africans can do this. I think a boycott of such magnitude can work in Africa. It's going to be hard here in the United States for black people here to effectively boycott. There have been successful boycotts in the United States, right? The Montgomery boycott that happened years ago really crippled the busing system in this country to bring a change. But it is almost hard for that to occur because black people in the United States have to live in a system where the boycott also hurts them, right? But in Africa, you can successfully do this because there are other African companies and products which you can live on that have nothing to do with the West. So you can essentially survive on a boycott. When you boycott a lot of these companies and products in your countries, you can essentially have a successful boycott. It'll only come down to, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to take those steps? Because that is essentially the type of step that you need to take. Hurt the money, right? Hurt the pockets, hurt the commerce of these companies and corporations in your countries, leeching off your products and resources under the guise of the AFRICOM program, because the AFRICOM program is actually there to protect your interests. So when you hurt the pockets, you essentially free your countries from all these military bases. Because looking at your leaders to do it isn't going to help. Your leaders ain't going to do it. They're taking the money and they're selling your countries. And that is what I believe the West is mostly afraid of. That Africans do not get to a point where they begin to take these types of actions proposed on this platform. Because that is essentially what can threaten the presence of Africa. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Like the video, share the
All right. I'll make my comment here that you cannot stop the will of the people. The will of black folk worldwide is in full effect. The only people who stopping us is us. And we need to stop believing in what white folks trying to tell us. Oh, you niggas ain't got no spades in your hand. We got all the spades. But they don't. We have all of the spades in our hands. And this is what they fear. They fear of you, black man, black woman, black people worldwide, of waking up to that fact. We are the greatest people on the face of the planet. We are the black universe filtered down in human form. But one of the biggest reasons why we have not been able to have a clear vision is because of these bitch ass leaders we got. Blocking the way, collecting money for all these decades, over 150 years, since 1880. We have been in control. Black folk literally have a lock on America because we are written into the Constitution. The 1866 Civil Rights Act, I don't give a fuck if I say it 10,000 more times. We gotta get that into our thick skulls. Ain't no white motherfucker stopping us. They only stopping us because we don't have the wherewithal or the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to combat them front and fucking center. Bonds for the win, the Civil Rights Act of 1866, and the Enforcement Act. That's all we need. They'll stop this bullshit and shenanigan that they plan you with the help of the weapons of mass destruction that they got called nigger. Bitch ass niggas. Niggas who are feigning to be your leader. I really don't know what else to say. It should be plain and simple. It's not a complicated answer or solution. Even the ex-head of the FBI, Hoover, said the number one threat in America is black unity, political, economic, spiritual, and physical. White folk cannot beat you, black man, black woman. They 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 talk all that shit. They talk all that shit and can't even bust a grape. Cut the scared. There was a Lumbee. I think I got it right. The Lumbee Nation, Indian Nation. Uh, I forget where it was, but the KKK was there, and then the brothers went and got their gun. They ran. White folks ran. They ran. They're only showing you what they think they are doing in regard to their so-called white supremacy marches and protests and killings. But they ain't seen shit yet. We are killing them. They are dying. Trump can't save us. But you ain't seen shit yet. These motherfuckers are getting up out of here left and right. There were two white motherfuckers went into Atlanta, a black neighborhood. They got shot down with their KKK hoods on. They can't fuck with us, especially when we are united. Now, these are, I kind of like this guy. He get on my nerves sometimes. That's just the way that he talk, but he do be talking a good game and a lot of good information. So I'm gonna play this one. This deal with the fake ass white Jews going against the very people who said they got an alliance with. And I'll be right back. Hold on.
Are trying to give a ring of support, a diplomatic ring of support for the Palestinian Authority, simultaneously with the announcement of the ceasefire or the expected announcement of the ceasefire as advised by Donald Trump. And these countries are in particular, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Egypt, Jordan, Qatar, and Turkey. They wanted to go to the West Bank to meet with the Palestinian president Mahmoud Abbas to increase the prospect of a Palestinian state, to say that, okay, we reached a ceasefire in Gaza, but we need to have a state. We're not just going to be satisfied with just a ceasefire that Benjamin Netanyahu would break again. No, we want to come and we want to show you solidarity. And in the Saudi Arabian case, that would have been a landmark visit. And guess what? Saudi Arabia is a country that Israel has always been talking about, saying that we want to have a deal with them and we want to let them join the what's labeled as the Abraham Accords, and we want to have a peace deal with them. But now they're actually blocking them from visiting. Israel will block Saudi-led delegation from visiting the West Bank. Again, another exercise of paranoia. You're talking about a paranoid state. They're afraid from visits. And this is a country that they want to have relations with. Saudi Arabia is one of the key Arab states that Israel wants to deal with. Benjamin Netanyahu himself, personally, has been chasing the Saudis for a deal, for a peace treaty, for them to join the Abraham Accords for decades now. Why? Because Israel begs for recognition. Why? Because a thief wants to be legitimized. Some of the Arab states, try to give him the legitimacy on a governmental level. They never really received the popular legitimacy, and they will never have any sort of real normalization. Even if you look at the peace treaty with Egypt and with Jordan too. let alone with Saudi Arabia. Now, you're trying to reach a deal with them. You're trying to have these diplomatic ties with Saudi Arabia. You're asking the Americans, you're constantly asking the Americans to push, to ask, to include Israel in the negotiations. Let them have a peace treaty with us. Let's have a peace treaty with them. And you're banning them from visiting your puppet. I mean, who is the Palestinian president anyway? It's not like you're talking about someone from another. No, the Palestinian president, everything is coordinated with Israel. The man moves with the approval of Israel. The man condemns the Palestinian resistance. The man, hell, he whitewashed the genocide by blaming all of the genocide on the Palestinian resistance, and he was swearing at them too. Yet, Israel is banning the Saudi delegation and the Jordanian and Egyptian too. It's like you have relations with them. What does it show you? What does it show you? This is very symbolic. It's showing you how paranoid they are. They are petrified. A normal country isn't afraid of criticism, isn't afraid of flags, isn't afraid of people, even some, to an extent, some people say even dissent, really. Some people say it's necessary for democracy, right? If we want to talk or pretend like there's like democracy or human rights. And now banning all of the visits coming from, well, non-hostile countries, to say the least. Some of them have peace treaties with them too. To the West Bank to visit the man who you're even enabling. They are petrified. They are petrified and they're scared to the high heavens. That's why they're constantly talking about we will be destroyed and we will be done, and this is an existential war, an existential threat. The Israeli foreign minister was saying yesterday that if we have sanctions against us, we will be destroyed. It will be a second Holocaust, state of total paranoia. And that, alongside the projection of power, and the abhorrent barbarism, the exaggerated violence, all of that is a show of strength to hide the fear, to hide the weakness, to hide the defeated mentality, to hide a defeated nation, to cover up a huge military failure. Yet, despite all of that, they will never be able to hide the failure and cover it up, especially if even a temporary ceasefire deal now goes ahead.
Let me get out of that. Hold on. So, like I was just saying, a lot of white folk are just scared. They're scared of their truth history because they don't have one. They've been lying. You're going to hear a sister talk about that in one of these videos. And it is so important to understand the past so you can, I'm sorry, you need to know the past in order to understand the present and predict the future. There's nobody more powerful than a black man, a black woman, black people in general. We are the end all and be all from the beginning, from the alpha to the omega. There's no way, shape, form, or how that anybody can beat us when we are united. Now hold on, let me see where it is. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do, because I'm getting tired, so I'm gonna play the ones that are not that long, which is, I'm sorry, I'm gonna play it a little bit long because I don't want to be on here very much long. But it deals with the fact of how powerful we are. Okay, you guys can check the videos out. Let me make sure I don't close the wrong one. Okay, that one. And this one there was how ancient Africans mastered iron and steel before Europe. I'm going to put this one in the comment. And we'll be on our way to almost finishing out these ones. Shit. Oh, okay. So I can get rid of this one. So we're down to 3. This one 10 minutes. This is the sister who really got in the ass of our white folks. And this one dealing with our brother, indisputable, Dr. Rashad. So let me say this. Stop believing in what white folks say and stop believing these dumbass wannabe leaders of us, like Farrakhan, got on his knees and started sucking the dick of white supremacy against Khalid Muhammad. There's no respect for that shit. How do you turn on your own man that helped you and the Nation of Islam grow? How do you do that, Farrakhan? And you heard Leonard Muhammad talking about how they stole money from Muhammad Ali and petrified the man and given up that money. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure they probably would have killed him too. But it was an ATM to the Muhammad Ali with the ATM to the Nation of Islam, walking around with, as you heard, fur coats and diamonds and all that. So let me, before they were many, the Bantu nation that ruled the ancient world. Identity is not about being told who you are. It is the unshakable truth that rises when you remember who you've always been. I'll be right back.
Before they were Zulu, Shona, Uba, or Kikuyu, they were one. One people, one kingdom, one destiny. Today, the Bantu people span across 30 African countries, divided into over 500 tribes, speaking more than 540 distinct languages. But what if I told you they were once united under a mighty crown, kingdom of ancient Egypt? This is the untold story of the Bantu people. From their throne in Mizraim to their scattering like rain across sub-Saharan Africa.
To be honest, there's no such thing as sub-Saharan. That's a white made-up term.
The Bible and ancient African oral traditions speak of Mizraim, also known as Menes to the Greeks, as the forefather of the Egyptians. He is listed among the sons of Ham, son of Noah, and is said to have founded the great civilization of Kemet, or Egypt. But Egypt was not just a country, it was the capital of a global empire. Its reach extended through trade, warfare, and diplomacy to every corner of the known ancient world, from Nubia and Ethiopia to Canaan and Mesopotamia. It was a time of glory, of gold, obsidian, incense, lapis lazuli. A time when Africa was not only the mother of civilization, but the jewel of the earth. But no empire lasts forever. Like the Roman Empire that crumbled and left Rome a shadow of itself, so too did Egypt fall. Invaded by outsiders, weakened by internal strife, and its heart eroded by time and betrayal. As Egypt collapsed, its people fled, some southward into Nubia, others into the heartlands of Africa. And from there began the slow dispersal of a once unified people. They carried language, technologies, metallurgy.
Did you hear that? Of a one unified people. Once you become disunity like a fist, spread out your fingers, you can't fight. But when you bring them back together, it's all hell and high water that you are not going to be saved by nobody.
Architecture and spiritual practices into Central Africa, East Africa, and finally, the southern tip of the continent. It was not a sudden migration, but a series of waves. People moved like a leaky basket, slowly, steadily, silently, until Egypt was no longer the home of black royalty, but a city ruled by outsiders. Today, over 540 Bantu languages are spoken, yet linguists have traced them all to a common ancestor.
Este video que estás viendo no es real, no, de hecho es un avatar generado 100% con inteligencia artificial. Y aunque no lo parezca, este tipo de...
Proto-Bantu, believed to have originated around modern-day Cameroon or southern Nigeria, sometime around 2000 BCE, but the truth is beyond this belief. From that root language grew Kiswahili, Zulu, Kuyu, Shona, Luba, Lingala, and many others. Though different in dialect, they shared deep similarities in grammar, structure, and vocabulary. This is not coincidence. It is the whisper of a common past, linguistic DNA, still echoing the voice of their ancestors from the Nile Valley. Today, Bantu people can be found in Democratic Republic of Congo, over 90 million Bantu speakers, including Luba, Congo, Mongo. Tanzania, over 60 million, including Sukuma, Heya, Chaga. South Africa, 47 million, Zulu, Xhosa, Swana, Benda, and more. Kenya, 40 million, Kuya, Kamba. Mozambique, 32 million, Kua, Sena, and Sangha. Angola, 30 million, over Bantu. Zimbabwe, 16 million, Shona, Uganda, 40 plus million, Baganda, Bana and Koli, Soga. In total, over 350 million people today are Bantu. That's 1 in 3 Africans. But few realize that they are one people, scattered across modern colonial borders. That the names they bear today, Zulu, Shona, Luba, are modern chapters of an ancient book. Division has been both their survival and their curse. Colonial borders split Bantu tribes between countries. Languages were suppressed, traditions marginalized, and historical links erased in school curriculums. Tribes were pitted against each other, Zulu against Sotho, Hutu against Tutsi, Kikuyu against Luo. But the root is the same. Division serves colonialism. Today, Bantu communities face loss of language due to urbanization, land dispossession, cultural assimilation, political fragmentation, underrepresentation in African governance. Yet, within these struggles lie seeds of revival. There's a deeper truth often whispered in oral traditions, that before the names Zulu, Shona, and Luba, there was Hongwe, a mighty proto-nation whose symbol was the fish eagle, and whose legacy survives among the Kalanga people of Zimbabwe, Botswana, and South Africa. They are believed by some historians and griots to be the living descendants of the ruling priest kings of ancient Egypt, carriers of sacred knowledge, astronomy, agriculture, and metallurgy. Their ruins at Mapungubwe, Great Zimbabwe, and Kami testified to a grandeur that echoes Egypt itself. In the faces of the Luba, we see the profile of a pharaoh. In the music of the Zulu, we hear echoes of temple chants. In the crafts of the Kikuyu, glimpse the hand of artisans who once built obelisks and palaces. The Bantu are not scattered. They are planted across Africa, like seeds of royalty, waiting to bloom once more. Truth is clear. Bantu people are not many nations. They are one nation with many faces. Reuniting spiritually, culturally, and intellectually begins with recognizing our shared origin. Mizraim was our father. Egypt was our capital. Africa is still our kingdom. From the dust of dynasties and the silence of forgotten temples rises the voice of a people who were once kings. And they will rise again.
I'm going to stop it here. Hold on. Now you see this one. This is during the Hellenistic period when so-called white people came and ruled. They only ruled for 150 years. We got up, gathered our senses, and killed them and got them the fuck out. But don't go by there and the brothers bowing. We didn't do that shit. No. We know who these people are, and we know who we are back then and now. White folk came in and took over our shit and called themselves Egyptian, Roman, and whatever they're calling themselves now, Caucasian, Aryan, European. All that is black. All of that is black. And this is the reason why you must understand history and who these people are. We killed these motherfuckers and got them out of Egypt, got them out of Greece. Now we're killing them again. But 3 strikes and you're out. There's no more. These people are hell on earth. The living embodiment of the 7 deadly sins and the devil. The white man is the devil in all his forms. Greed, gluttony, sloth, envy, pride, wrath, and lust. How the fuck do you complain, nigga? You done got all the goddamn resources in the world. 250 million square miles. Yeah, square miles of no, I'm sorry, 250 250 million acres of land in America, and you broke now? Hey, y'all, yeah, you didn't multiply that shit? Make that make sense. You see where I'm going with this? These motherfuckers are not as bright as they pretend to be. They get everything from us, my people. Let me move on. And this is the sister. So, all right. Move right on in, and I will.
It was the system's way of saying, let's stop them from succeeding independently so we can profit from their brilliance directly. It was about control. And so I want us to be very clear about this. We were never separate but equal. So that's a lie. We were separate and excelling. We had our own schools, we had our own banks, we had our own businesses, and baby, we were thriving. Black Wall Street, they burned it. Rosewood, they bombed it. Wilmington, they overthrew it. Why? Because we were doing too well without them, and they couldn't handle that. And so that's the truth. They didn't really want segregation.
You really thought whiteness was power. A VIP passed to the top. Nah. Turns out it was just a costume, a scam, a trick that was designed to keep poor white folks chasing a dream that was never meant for them. While the real winners sat back and laughed today, you're going to hear a breakdown so brutal, historically sharp. It will knock the powdered wigs off your ancestors if you are brave enough to listen. It exposes how white was never an identity. It was a tool, a weapon, a distraction, and the people most fooled by it weren't black, they were white and poor. And guess what? Many of them still don't get it. So go ahead and listen to this TikTok. Let it play and then you are going to talk. For real, because this is the kind of proof that never makes it into your history class. But it is the reason why the world looks the way it looks today. As you're watching, remember that all credits, full credits, belongs to original creators of these TikToks. Let's get into it.
Imagine creating an engaging video with one click. People absorb 10 times the amount of information watching video compared to reading text, except it's
So I had some white colleagues ask me what I thought about Trump actually segregating whites and blacks. And I actually told them straight up, like, honestly, I would love that. Now, they looked at me like I was crazy, and they almost spit up their almond milk, and I think they thought that maybe I was saying that out of hatred, but it really isn't about hatred. Here's the thing. I'm not talking about their version of segregation. See, I'm talking about our version of righteous separation, spiritual sovereignty, and black sufficiency. See, the truth of it is that integration was never about freedom. It was finesse. It was a system's way of saying, let's stop them from succeeding independently so we can profit from their brilliance directly. It was about control. And so I want us to be very clear about this. We were never separate but equal. So that's a lie. We were separate and excelling. We had our own schools, we had our own banks, we had our own businesses, and baby, we were thriving. Black Wall Street, they burned it. Rosewood, they bombed it. Wilmington, they overthrew it. Why?
Look at
because
Wilmington.
We were doing too well without them, and they couldn't handle that. And so that's the truth. They didn't really want segregation gone. They wanted control. This is why we know that integration was just repackage of chains. When we were separate, we actually were building and excelling. And when they saw that we could excel without them, then it was like, oh no, we got to take control and make sure that their labor is profiting us. So right around that time, they rolled out this whole standardized testing, ACT and SAT. Y'all remember that? They created this IQ ranking to measure their norms, not our brilliance. And then we were said we were behind when we really weren't. We were just building our own lane, not asking for theirs. See, I don't know about you all, but I'm kind of tired of the lies. It's very exhausting.
The lies.
Just the lies that continue to be promoted. And I want to talk about the melanin, because this whole thing that we're not smart enough, that we're not bright enough, is simply just a lie. And so, all this testing that they're doing, and I have kids in school, and they're made to feel that they cannot achieve. And I have to remind them about their actual superpower of melanin. See, not just your skin tone, but in your brain, specifically neuromelanin. that rich dark pigment found in areas like the substantia nigra, which are critical for learning and memory and decision making and emotional regulation. See, if you don't know, then you won't know how to respond. But when you learn about the studies that have actually linked the neuromelanin to higher concentrations and how it's related to enhanced memory and processing and higher intelligence and faster reaction times, then you know why they have hidden this information for so long. Because when you have higher melanin, you have stronger brain resilience against degenerative diseases. So translation to that is melanin doesn't just make you glow, it makes you grow. So we know that it's not coincidental that people with more melanin have historically been creators, inventors, innovators across every discipline, while also being the most suppressed, because they know that the more melanin you have in your body and in your brain actually produces higher intelligence. So the Bible also says this too in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 7. It says, he placed treasures in earthen vessels. What treasures? It was in us all along, right? So we have more melanin, and we know that people with less melanin, because it's a recessive gene and it's a mutation, lack the same level of intelligence, of many different benefits that come along with that. What's so interesting about it is that we're supposed to be looking at this as if it's something negative. But why is it negative when every other cultural group does this? Group economics. See, the truth of the matter is they have stolen from us so many different things, and yet we still survive. And so I don't want to offend, but I have to be blunt here. When we invented it, they patented it. When we built it, they banked on it. So everything we created, they made sure they benefited off of it. Just like Louis Latimer, he actually developed the light bulb, but Edison got all the glory for it. And this has been going on through history. We know that Granville T. Woods laid the foundation for trains. Corporations got the contracts. Dr. Patricia Bath revolutionized eye surgery. The system licensed the tech. Black music became white record labels, billion-dollar industries off of our talent. Every time we create, they capitalize. We are the genius, but they control the royalties. It's quite interesting, isn't it? So when we talk about the facts and segregation, I want to be very clear. It's not racist. We have to understand the dynamics of this. See, the black dollar actually is the fastest running dollar in America. So let's do the math here. And I think it's quite funny. Black people have spending power over 1.6 trillion. But guess what? That dollar stays in our community just for 6 hours. While the white community, their dollar stays in their community 17 days. And guess what? Asian communities, it stays in their community 20 days.
Now, that might be true now, but back in the day, during Black Wall Street, it stayed in our community for more than 40 days before it left.
Jewish communities over 3 weeks. Why? Because we're systemically disarmed from owning what we built. And this is no coinky dink. The scripture said this would happen. So now our dollar does the labor, but the system collects the check. And this is why I support segregation on our own terms. See, that 400 years of slavery is over. And when I say that I want us to be segregated, I don't mean oppressed. I mean organize. Let's build black banks again. Let's educate our babies on the truth, not whitewashed lies. And let's support black farmers, black techs, black healing, black brilliance. And no, it doesn't mean I hate white people. No, it means I finally love us enough to stop begging for scraps from a table we built but never welcome to. See, the Bible told us about this. Yet we hop, skip, and jump over the fact that Deuteronomy 28, 43, and 44 already said it. It says, the stranger shall rise above you high, and you shall come down low. They shall lend to you, but you shall not lend to them. And this is exactly what has been happening for 400 years plus years. We built houses, businesses, schools, and they took them and taxed them to death. But beloved, there's hope, because Deuteronomy 30 and 3 also says, and Yah will turn your captivity and have compassion upon you, and will return and gather you from all nations. So yes, I welcome segregation, because restoration is already in motion. And I want y'all to understand this. We are not asking for more, we're building. See, we were never given anything from you all. I'm not asking to sit at somebody's table anymore. See, I'm trying to go along with scripture and build my people, gather my people, not because they are more melanated, but because we need to know that we serve the Most High and that He's going to take care of us, because separation was never our curse. It was our covenant. And now it's our strategy. It says to come out from among them, be ye separated. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17. So this isn't about racism. It's about us reclaiming what is already ours. Oh, honey, bless your little historically misinformed heart. Somebody told you that your whiteness was a VIP pass to power, and you actually believed it. Like a toddler with a toy steering wheel, you really thought you were driving this car. But come close, I got that news that'll knock the bottle rigs off your ancestors. You thought whiteness was a winning ticket? That proximity to pale skin placed you at the top of the pyramid? Oh no, sugar. That pyramid was built by lies, funded by theft, and designed to keep us both in check while somebody else laughed at the top. See, the truth is your whiteness was a scam, a scheme, a strategic setup. You want to talk about white race? Baby, there was no such thing until elites needed a social sedative to stop the poor from uniting with the enslaved. But let's rewind those receipts. Here comes the intervention of whiteness. Before the 17th century, people didn't even classify themselves as a part of the white race. This concept was conjured up post-Bacon's Rebellion in 1676 as a wedge between poor Europeans and enslaved Africans. Divide and conquer was their tactic, and the colonial elite said, let's give these poor whites a badge and a Bible and a buffet of fragile pride, just enough to stop them from asking for our land and our wealth and our wives. Congratulations, because you didn't get the crown, you got a costume. Welcome to the plantation. You thought that you got out of slavery, but you just got a different job. And let's talk about that truth. You died in wars to protect plantations you never inherited. You fought to preserve a system that only saw you useful when the elites got nervous. You didn't own the slaves. You didn't own the land. You didn't own the system, but you owned the blame, and you did the bidding of the real oppressors. You were the Walmart greeter for the white supremacy smiling at the door. This is so sick and fucking true.
You're talking about burning somebody.
You was enforcing those rules while the CEO sat in the back room counting your ignorance. But let me get this straight. You fought for a system that never fought for you. You defended wealth that never made it to your zip code. You policed neighborhoods you couldn't afford to live in. Make it make sense. And you say, we built civilization, but who built the pyramids? Who charted the stars, birthed the maps, medicine, and mapped out the heavens before your ancestors figured out how to wash their legs? Let me remind you, while you were lighting your castles with candles, we were mastering metallurgy and astrology in Mali. And let's not even get into the Moors who ruled Spain for 700 years, teaching hygiene, irrigation, architecture, and astronomy, while your ancestors were dying from bathing once a year.
First of all, can you give credit where it's a TikTok? Fire. She laid it out plain. Whiteness is not a superpower. It's a scam, a costume, a trick played on the poor white people to make them
I've been saying that since I don't know how long.
Well, really, they're just paying the security for the rich folks at the top. That part where she said, you didn't get a crown, you got a costume. And that hits me because it's true. Poor white folks were handed just enough privilege to feel important, but not enough to actually get power. They became the frontline defenders of the system that never loved them either. Let's break that history down a bit. Lincoln's Rebellion 1676 was a moment when poor white people and the enslaved Africans started to unite. They were fed up with how the Allies were treating them. So, what did those allies do? They panicked and they said, "You can't let the poor unite with the enslaved." So they created the idea of whiteness. Before then, nobody thought of themselves as white. We're English, French, Irish, but after the rebellion, they said, "Let's give a new identity to these poor white folks. Tell them that they're better than black folks, even if they are broke too." Think about it. Most poor white folks didn't own slaves. They didn't have land. They didn't get rich. But they were told to protect the system as if it was theirs. They were like the security guard for the wealthy, fending a house that they couldn't even step inside. It's sad, but also strategic. The elites needed poor white folks to believe they had something to lose if things became equal. And the same lie is still working today. You got poor white folks voting against healthcare, against food programs, against education, because they think those things are handouts for black and brown people. But guess what? They need those programs too. Their kids are hungry too. Their hospitals are closing too. But they've been told, "Don't worry, you are white." That makes things better. Meanwhile, the rich are counting their money and laughing. Like that woman said, sitting in the back room counting your ignorance. One thing I love about these TikToks is how bold the speaker is. She's not begging, she's not sugarcoating, she's talking directly to the white folk who still believes in the myth. To my black brothers and sisters watching this is why we study history, not their version, but our version. The truth. Because once you understand how the system was built, you stop trying to win in a game that was rigged at the start. The whole section about Mali, the Moors, Africa before colonialism, that part matters. They want us to believe that black history starts with slavery. Nah, you had universities, libraries, medicine, map, astronomy, before they were even bathing regularly. To black folks, don't ever let this system convince you that you are crazy for telling the truth. Keep your head up and stay rooted in your history. Alright family, that was it for today. If you have not yet subscribed, please make sure you smash on the subscribe button. And as you are watching this video, remember to click the like button so that more other viewers who are interested will be recommended to watch it. Mr. TA signing off. Ciao.
All right, we're down to the last one, and this is about the police again, and it's 5 minutes, 6 minutes long about. And I'll be right back.
Well, they have pro-Trump flags inside of the police department. They have mock graves of people they have killed inside of their police precinct. It is insane. Let's put it up. In Seattle, Washington, a police department is under fire after a 2021 body cam video obtained as part of a lawsuit exposed the decor in an East Precinct break room, which included a makeshift tombstone mocking Demarius Butts, a black 19-year-old who was killed by the Seattle police, and a Trump flag also present with a sign that said, "Stop killing us." So you see in the graphic, that is a fake mock tombstone of somebody they killed. That's their trophy. You know who does that according to psychological profilers? Serial killers. Serial killers, they like to have a point of contact to the killing. Some call it a trophy. Demarius Butts, let's put him up, was 19 when this happened. He was 19. He was fatally shot 11 times by local police on April 20th, 2017. After running from police, after attempting to rob a convenience store. Reports say the young man brandished a firearm and demanded the clerk give him a beer. Officers were alerted, chased him to a loading dock. He and the officers fired at each other, leaving 3 cops wounded, but the only fatality was the team. An inquest jury ruled that the shooter was justified and the officers involved were absolved of any criminal charges. Let me give you the reaction from Darius' mother regarding the tombstone. The mother of the man killed said she could express how hurtful it was to find out that the officers displayed a fake grave marker. A heartbroken Ann Butt said, I didn't think SPD could take more from me. I was wrong. Let me talk about the Trump flag for a minute. That's prominently displayed at the precinct. And this is a campaign Trump flag. This is not a governmental anything. Legal experts suggest that having the Trump flag might violate state laws and department policies that govern officers' engagement in partisan political activities while on duty. Response from the police department. The department released a statement that noted it had no idea how the item ended up on the storage shelving. We have no reason to believe it was placed as a trophy or with any pejorative intent, the SPD said. A spokesperson explained that individuals who perceive BLM as being against the police often place items that commemorated instances of local and national use of force around the precinct. They added that it's not surprising that such items would end up on the shelf. Precinct has confirmed the items have been removed. That's a hell of a spin story there. Let's put up the mayor. Just last March, Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell posed a question to a federal court judge to lift the 2012 SPD consent decree based on a pattern of biased policing and use of excessive force that erodes trust, said Harrell. When we're trying to build trust with our police department and the community, I will support an investigation to understand what happened, who knew about it, who should have known about it, he said. There you have it. Why are these things important? They're important because it goes to state of mind. It goes to an internal bias. It goes to hyper racist aggressions. It goes to their bigotry and also their lack of sensitivity to do their jobs. Who would do such a thing? Even if you believe that a killing is justified, who's happy to kill? Who would feel good about killing somebody? A killer would. That's who. A killer. All right. Max, thoughts?
Well, the more you look in that video, the more you find. I mean, I kept thinking this is what conquering armies do. They take trophies from the people they've defeated. And if you look, there's more than just the tombstone. There's also an anarchist flag hanging right next to the tombstone that they likely took at a protest. And they're doing this to memorialize what they view as their victories, the way they dominated and conquered people, because police officers, and many will tell you, they feel like they are a force of order in an occupied country, and that the people they're policing are the enemy. They're not people they're meant to serve. They're a danger. And this is how they decorate and how they think in places where they don't think the public is going to see. And if you look at a lot more insides of police stations, you'll see a lot more like that.
Yeah. And listen, in the video, I know we got screenshots, but in the video, these officers are walking around. I mean, this is just how it operates there. Nobody was shocked. Nobody was like, oh my goodness, where did that come from? All right, so the spin is bull.
All right, so let me wrap it up. And let me get out of the screen thing. So I'm going to wrap it up and see you guys next week. My closing comment is really simple. Fuck all white. We have got to be serious about unity. Serious about black first. Serious about political, economic, and religious, political, economic, spiritual, and physical well-being. And to call our so-called leaders out who are fucking up. And they should be finding out that they done fucked up. We don't have time for games. And just like our brothers and sisters on the continent, we need to do it here in the America and around the world. There's no time for games. There's no time to play. There's no time to pussyfoot around and shift from foot to foot and side to side as if we don't know what we're doing. We know. We got the information. We done had it for 150 fucking years. But the leaders of the bourgeois niggas are calling upon their own ignorance to hide the truth. See, black folk don't need a protection law. We got it already. Like the Asian guy, Asian hate crime bill. We've been done had it, you guys, since 1866 and the Enforcement Acts. And you couple that with bonds for the win. Let me put that in the comment. Bond for win.com. If you don't know how to do it, they'll show you. They'll help you to fill it out. Every police department, every city, state, federal, and local, whatever the case may be, must have a bond, a surety bond. And if they keep fucking around and they'll find out, you can get the bond worth hundreds of thousands, if not tens of millions of dollars. For the life of me, I don't know why and how we're fucking up and fucking around, finding out the wrong way. Everything is in our favor in America, but if you don't know about it, my people, if you don't know about it, my people, how are you going to fight? The system is rigged against us because we are ignorant of the real deal Holyfield. We got power. We're not powerless. But if you keep fighting and accepting the lie that white folks tell, then how are you ever going to get out of your situation? You have got to be either the dumbest motherfucker on the planet, or you really don't give a fuck. You're just trying to get along to go along and get whatever crumbs off the table. When the fucking table, the house, the street, the nation, the world belong to you, goddamn. Africa is finding out because they stopped fucking around at how great they are, how great we are. That white folk don't want you to realize that. You know, there's a children's story. I wish I had the picture, because the picture was 1,000 words. Gulliver's Travel, where the human goes into the fantasy world of small people, and they tie him down. They think they tied him down. They got roped and all of that, right? But imagine that the guy is a black guy and these little people are white folk. And he wakes up, this black guy has been tied down with these so-called threads of rope. He breaks free. Start to get up, and what you see is these little men talking about, he waking up, what are we going to do? Can't do shit when people wake up. They can't do shit when black folk wake up. It's over. And this is why I am saying that the time is now, not tomorrow, not yesterday. Yesterday was a canceled check for 50 years from now. Today. Make it up in your mind to come together and be about that work. That I can honestly tell you, my mother dead now. My brother and I, Isa Israel, and I are going to file a lawsuit against the U.S. government, federal, state, and local, to free our people on the 1866 Civil Rights Act and the Enforcement Act. That's all you got to do. You ain't got to hoop, holler, yell, scream, protest, and carry something. I'm not doing that shit. I'm the one who liberated our people here from the government that tried to kill every motherfucker with the vaccine. And we won. Less than a week later, they stopped that bullshit of infecting and killing people with the vaccine. So this is not no brain surgery. It's been there. Our ancestors put it there for us. Ulysses S. Grant, who was a black guy, president, the 18th president of the United States, created the Enforcement Act and the Department of Justice. The FBI was created, if I'm not mistaken, in 1911. So they must do their job, must do it. Not that they would like to do it, they are mandated to do it. So with that being said, I'm going to close it up, and I'll see you guys next week. I don't know what I'm going to be talking about, but I'm quite certain as I peruse the internet and especially the YouTube of what's going on in the world, I'll be back with something next week. But I love you guys. I'm also going to be fucking hard. I'm going to be very fucking hard. Because this is the kind of leadership we need. We don't need no bitch ass motherfucker stealing from us. Millions of dollars stolen from the black community, as you heard from our beloved Muhammad Ali. And he didn't even know it. Where did that fucking money go? And the collection of hundreds of millions of dollars by the Nation of Islam is a damn shame. We don't have a motherfucking thing that you can point to that said we did something with the money. The Nation of Islam is a fucking scam. Point blank, nothing. You mean to fucking tell me all the goddamn time nobody knew about the Enforcement Act? The lawyers? Nobody filed nothing with the federal government, state government, local government to stop the bullshit? You know they end on scamming us. I'm not saying this out of fucking hate. I'm being real shit. I'm looking at this front and center, honestly, openly, without a fuck. Fuck Farrakhan. I lost all respect for that motherfucker. The way he mistreated Khalid Muhammad. Now, I'm not talking about all the good people in the nation who are truly trying to do something. But if any of you are lawyers, civil rights attorneys, please give me a call. Hold on. I can tell you what to do. This is my WhatsApp number. Please give me a call. I would love to talk to you. But we have got to step away from the bullshit and get down to the real nitty gritty and be about that life. We have got to be on point. White folks are not playing. They're killing us. Our babies need a future where they can grow up in a loving, caring, educational, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding environment. We have no more time to waste. We wasted enough fucking time with Elijah Muhammad and his pedophile ass and everything else that happened, including Martin Luther King and his bitch ass. We cannot afford much more treachery, treason amongst our people who are all in it for the money. Can't do that. Can't. So, with that being said, I love you guys. You know me by now. I do a thorough job. I don't be bullshitting when I'm on this show. And please spread the word in regard to what I talked about, the 1866 Civil Rights Act, Enforcement Act, and everything on the show. Please share, subscribe, and always, the next 24/7, 365. Stay black and fuck all white folk. I will see y'all next week. Peace.